but notice it's only done once, so the common conception was never again.
Nope. He said he wanted to fly again immediately after he was done with his first flight.
Oh, yeah.
So he did it a second time, yeah.
Cool.
He did 2 flights.
Yeah, that wasn't part of the script, but we allowed it.
You see, that's the
Good
trick.
press.
Anybody will do anything one time. It's getting him to do it again that's the trick.
Oh, I don't know. I can think of a lot of things I wouldn't do at one time.
And you can actually see video of his flight on our website, which is opener.aero.
Okay.
OPENER.AERO.
Okay, .org, .com.
.aero.
.aero. You did say
Yep.
that.
I was going to say, I saw the video of the flight last night on YouTube this morning, and it was impressive. And I'm wondering, where are they flying us? And it dawned on me, it's got to be down in the ultralight area.
At the farm.
At the farm,
So
yeah.
Tuesday and Friday, we're at the ultralight area at 8 o'clock. And then
That's
Wednesday
PM.
tonight, 8 o'clock p.m. Wednesday tonight, we are in the main air show at 8:23.
Ooh, that's good because
then
I
also
want to
on
watch the
Saturday.
fireworks.
Yeah, you got it all lit up? You got pyro hanging all over it? Not yet, huh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely want to get out there to see that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see this thing fly.
I do too. We keep seeing all of
Look,
these.
you distract them, I'll snatch it and put it in the trailer.
Hey, I'm going to fly it home. Wait,
There you
20
go.
miles? It's going to take a few days.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of charging. Yeah, can you use the Tesla supercharger on it? Not yet, huh?
Not yet. But, I'm seeing a lot of electric vehicles here and there, personal transportation. And you're one of the first that have actually gotten off the ground, right?
Yeah, we've actually flown the aircraft over 36,000 miles and performed over 4,500 flights with it over the course of the last, 6-7 years.
So
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Everybody
we
else,
just test.
everybody
we're
else
not
is playing
afraid.
catch up now.
You're the SpaceX. No, you don't blow things up. You just fly.
No, please
Let's
don't
not
blow
draw that
stuff up.
parallel after
No,
all.
Absolutely not.
So where can we find out more on the web? Opener.aero, right?
Right.
Correct.
Where
We
can
got
we
it.
find you on the field?
We're located right across from the main control tower at booth 500 or right beside Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Hey, there you go.
I want to thank you guys for joining us, ladies, I mean.
We're talking to Christina Menton and Celia Oakley from Opener.
This is Digital Dave.
I'm Fast Eddie, and this is EAA Radio.
Live from the Ron Scott Communications Center. This is From the Stand, and as Mike said, I'm your host, Steve Buss. This program is supported by the Commemorative Air Force. The CAF's mission is education, so that generations of Americans will value and support the contributions of military aviation in assuring our nation's freedom. Visit CAF's website at commemorativeairforce.org, and you can find out more information about the CAF and the aircraft that are here at AirVenture. This morning we're going to be talking rockets and home builds with Kit Planes editor Paul Dye. We'll find out what's up with the C-47 That's All Brother and meet a D-Day Pathfinder pilot, a gentleman who was there and there first on D-Day in 1944. He's 96 years old, but you'd never know it. And we're going to wrap up the program with Dave Hamilton later on this hour. But first, we have a very, very special guest, Mr. Sean D. Tucker. Good morning, Sean Tucker.
Good morning, my dear friend. Glad to be here.
It is wonderful to have you back here. We're going to talk Young Eagles, but you have a special guest as well joining you.
I have a special partner.
Okay.
Okay.
And why don't you introduce him?
Well, my dear friend, Jimmy Graham, tight end for the Green Bay Packers, is officially the co-chair of the EAA's Young Eagle program. And I am just so delighted, honored, and feel so privileged that I have the opportunity to work with Jimmy through this year and the following year. So I'm just overjoyed.
And Jimmy, welcome. First of all, welcome to AirVenture. I understand it's your first time here, and welcome to the Green Bay Packers. So you work for me now. I'm a shareholder, just so you know. And what do you think so far? I mean, you've only been here one day, but
yeah, for me, it's been incredible. Honestly, usually I'm working this time of year. Tomorrow, actually, we start at 6 a.m. So I'll be hustling back up to Green Bay a little later today. But just overwhelmed really with with how big this operation is. Just how friendly, how nice everybody's been, and honestly, all the volunteers. It's pretty incredible to see so many people come together to create something so special. It really is.
And you have some pretty good credentials, not only on the field but off the field. You are a private pilot, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you have your own airplane. You were flying a de Havilland Beaver on floats.
Yes, sir.
So not only do you have a tail dragger rating, but a float plane rating as well?
Yes, sir. Pretty incredible how that happened. When I got to Seattle to play for the Seattle Seahawks, John Nordstrom ended up taking me up in his Beaver my first week that I was on the job. So literally the following weekend I went and got my float plane rating. And then somehow 3 months later, I had my Beaver rebuilt. Fought in the Vietnam War, and it took about 5,000 man hours to rebuild it. So pretty special.
Good. It's a 1957?
1957, yes, sir.
All right. What's the best part about flying that airplane?
That one, you're going pretty slow, so you get to see everything pretty low. But honestly, when I was able to fly it into practice, I used to fly to work about 3 times a week up in Seattle, and it made a 45-minute commute to 5, so that was pretty special mornings and some special nights for me.
Pretty awesome. Now, last night on Shark Week on Discovery Channel, Aaron Rodgers is like brushing off a shark. You're not going to do anything like that, are you, with the Beaver?
No. I was talking about him. I was talking about that last week with him. Wondering what he's doing and why there isn't 3 cages to protect him. But
yeah.
He's a grown man. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
So now that you've signed on with the Packers, you signed on with the Young Eagles program. I understand you also did some Young Eagle flights.
We did yesterday. It was great. It was so much fun flying with Jimmy and the Beaver and the 2 kids in the back. We did a formation photo flight over the showgrounds, and to see the scope of this operation from the sky, and to be flying with Jimmy Graham. He's a very accomplished pilot. He's also an aerobatic pilot. He's also a helicopter pilot. He's got instrument-rated helicopter. But to see the showgrounds, and then to have the kids in the background, what a chance in a lifetime for them as well. It was really a blast.
Well, now you know what it's like to fly Young Eagles, and the grin that comes from flying them and from the Young Eagles in the seats with you. It's always something we've said is that we don't know who's having more fun, the pilots or the kids, because it really is a very rewarding program.
I really think it's as rewarding for the pilots because number one. You're not relevant unless you're giving back.
Right.
Okay. And we're sharing something we love, and we're touching their hearts. And these kids get it. They get it. They feel so special. And that makes me feel special, that I'm doing something righteous. I'm doing something good. I'm moving the ball forward.
Well, and you've been moving the ball forward for years, not only with the Young Eagles program as the chairman, but also with your aerobatic school and teaching us straight and level pilots how to not get into trouble.
I just like flying, Steve.
That's right. So have you flown with Sean before, Jimmy?
Yes, last year in Seattle in the Extra 300.
And there, Jimmy, I'm not a huge football guy, okay? But Jimmy and I connected, and we became friends from that flight because we're aviators. Right. And when he looks himself in the mirror, he probably looks himself in the mirror and he says, I'm an aviator first. I mean, I'm serious. And he's so reverent. His reverence reminds me of Harrison Ford's reverence for flight in terms of how much he respects it, how hard he works at this craft. This is not a game to him. This is a commitment to being the type of human being who understands flying as a privilege. It's an opportunity to push your boundaries, but you do it with respect and reverence.
Exactly. How did the whole process of getting you signed up as the co-chair come about?
I just kept nudging them.
I figured that's what happened.
Nudging them. And for us as a community to have somebody from a sports figure who is going to reach millions of kids, and they look up to him. I mean, we have just this opportunity that, we've had some pretty great chairs at the Young Eagles programs, and I think Jimmy's going to be one of the greatest because he's going to reach to a whole nother demographic of kids. Right. He's a kid. Right. I mean, he's a superstar athlete, but he's a kid. And they're going to resonate with what he's talking about and his passion and his love. And I think for us, we are so fortunate to have Jimmy come aboard.
We're talking with Sean D. Tucker and Jimmy Graham, who's tight end with the Green Bay Packers and also now the new co-chair of the Young Eagles program.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. you looking forward to the gathering on Thursday night?
I'm really looking forward to the gathering on Thursday night, but I'm more looking forward to the Young Eagle Pilots and Volunteers
on
dinner
Wednesday.
Tomorrow night.
That's
yeah,
right.
We're going to go at 10:30. We're going to go introduce Jimmy to some of the volunteers.
Excellent. Yeah. That's great. Talk a little bit, Sean, about your Bob Hoover Academy. That's going great, isn't it?
It's wonderful. It has absolutely changed my life. You do these things, as there's only God only wants you to make the world a better place, okay? But when you get that opportunity to do it, it changes your life. And the Bob Hoover Academy, these kids who are tough luck kids who all they have worried about before they came to the academy is surviving, and we give them a chance to dream. We give them a chance to hope. They get out of bed in the morning. And because they've been so convicted of purpose to survive, and when you give them a chance to dream and they have that strength of character, they don't let that dream go, man. They don't. These kids are just magnificent. So it's changed me more. I've gotten just as many rewards as they have, and it's just a blast. The Bob Hoover Academy. It's awesome.
And where is this located?
Salinas, California.
There you go.
Yep. We're allowing them to redefine themselves as human beings, and we're allowing them to look at themselves in the mirror and be proud of who they are, and helping them establish some character using the metaphor of flight. My first kid just graduated from college, and he was dead on arrival when he showed up, and he should see him now. He's got about 50 hours of flying time and has an A&P license, and he is a leader. I mean, it is cool stuff.
So
through the metaphor of flight.
So you're changing lives.
Yes, we
Not
are.
only your own, but
Yeah.
the Academy students.
That's correct.
All right. What's next for Sean Tucker?
I just love flying airplanes, so we'll find out.
Oh, boy. So we've heard rumors that you might be up to something new next year.
Well, I'm hoping this is going to be my last solo year.
Right.
It's you just got to listen to your gut. This has just been a blast. I love everything about it. I love getting in my airplane. But if I don't listen to my gut, I'm not being true to myself.
Right.
And I really want to start a formation aerobatic team. It's how I want to finish my career, because I loved it when I had the collaborators. Mm-hmm. I love the teamwork. I love the combined search for excellence together, and so that's where we're going, and we're working on that right now.
And Sean will be flying in the air show today.
Yes,
in fact,
sir.
You're kind of leading things off this
2:30,
today.
yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
well, that's
Yeah.
good. We'll watch for the Oracle Challenger.
Yes, sir.
All right. Jimmy, any final thoughts before we wrap up this segment?
No, I mean, it's really just been a special day, special 2 days for me, and blessed enough to learn and be partnered here with Sean D. Tucker and with EAA. It's incredible, and I hope everybody has a good time, and go Pack Go.
All right, sounds good. Catch us now that Aaron Rodgers survived Shark Week with his throwing arm intact. We're good.
Yeah.
Catch a lot of passes this year. Have a great season.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so very much for stepping forward and being an inspiration for our Young Eagles. 2 million and going strong. There's no stopping that program now.
That's right.
All right, Sean Tucker, thank you for being here.
Steve.
Jimmy Graham, welcome, and thank you for being here as well. This is From the Stand, and you're listening to EAA Radio.
Here's an interview from AirVenture Oshkosh 2015.
Welcome to EAA Radio. I'm Wireless Mike. This is Squawk 1200, and today we are joined by Scout Helicopters, and today in the studio we have Shane Taft and Vladimir Krulov. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate getting to be on the air today and letting people know about our helicopter.
Okay, now tell me about the Scout helicopter. Is this a kit plane or a kit helicopter? Can't say plane. Or is this a manufactured helicopter?
Yeah, the Scout has been engineered and designed in Kiev, Ukraine, by the Scout team, and yes, it's going to be a kit helicopter. It's going to be an amateur kit build, offered with a builder support program included that will take place in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. It's basically a 3-rotor blade, 3-seat helicopter, which people really like, with a pretty good payload of what you can carry in it. It's made super lightweight. It's all mostly aluminum and composite materials, so people seem to be really happy with it.
And you said it's a Builder Assist program. Where is that program going to be located at?
Okay, right now we have it set up to be in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. It could be in Lancaster, but most likely Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
And how long will it take to build this helicopter?
We're estimating right now about a month. Of course, all the flight critical components and everything, the more complex riveting and everything will be done at the main facility, and then the parts and pieces shipped here, and we'll try to get the customer out the door as fast as possible, and make sure that he knows what he's doing. So, take the repairman certificate with him. So you want to make sure the critical components that need to be inspected and everything, they really know what they're doing, and so they'll have a safe flying machine. But as fast as possible, probably about a month.
And what kind of engine are you going to have in the aircraft?
This one for the Oshkosh Special, we're offering it's a Lycoming family engine of it's called the ECI IOX 370. We're offering with a supercharger, give about 230 horsepower. Also available is the Lycoming 390 engine or the ECI IOX 409, which is also about 230 horsepower.
They're all in the same horsepower area.
The Lycoming 390 is what's on it now. That's where all the flight tests are from, and that's about 210 horsepower. So
if you get the 230, you have a little bit of extra power there.
A little bit extra power.
That'll be nice.
Yep.
And what about fuel burn with those engines?
Right now, our tests are about 8.5 to 10 gallons an hour, and with a 32-gallon tank, you're getting about 3.2 hours of flight time out of it, or 357-mile range is what we calculated.
So that's going to be a very cost-effective aircraft to operate then.
Yes. They try to keep the maintenance costs very, very low, the fuel costs very low. Everything that needs TBO, we're at a minimum. Most of the critical parts are about 2,000 hours. So, yeah, of course, Lycoming engine is a 2,000-hour, but the blades, the main rotor blades, are all composite rotor blades. They have a 15-year life on them, or 8,000 hours, but flying 8,000 hours in 15 years is quite a bit of flying.
That's a lot of flying, yeah. And now, you said this is a Ukrainian helicopter design?
This is designed in Ukraine with they have really good engineers that have worked on it. One of the main engineers that worked on it also was part of the team that did the Antonov 124 back when Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. And, that was a huge success. He got interested in helicopters and started working with the team to design this one. And they're really happy with it. I mean, it's been in design for about a little more than 3 years, about 3.5, 4 years. And they've been working on it this whole time to bring it and make it as safe as possible, to make it smart so that it was easy to work on and really safe. So even though it's experimental class, they wanted to do it with certifiable standards so that everything across the board was really good and people will be happy with it. So,
how long have these helicopters been on the market?
It's on the market now. We're estimating about a year. If somebody were to order one now, about a year to delivery.
Okay.
But this is the first one that we have flying.
And are there helicopters in Ukraine flying these helicopters?
This one was flying in Ukraine. They have a second and third one they'll be complete in September. They'll do other configuration testing with it and things like that. And then the first 5 serial number kits will start after those are complete.
So you're a very new company with a new aircraft. Okay, excellent. And what is the approximate cost on the kit with the build?
Right now for the special we have $195,000, and that includes the Builder Assist program that we'll have in Pennsylvania.
And that's huge to have that assistance, you know, instead of just trying to do it all yourself and go from scratch. If you haven't built a helicopter, I hear they're fairly complicated machines.
Yeah, they tried to design it as simply as they could, but it's still a helicopter, and there's some complex parts that we really don't want people to do themselves. Some of the flight critical parts, it shouldn't be done by somebody in their garage, basically. So we want to make sure they have that support and build it there.
Yeah. Rather have it done correctly and make sure that the customer has a quality product when they leave the factory. And so in Pennsylvania for the build, it's going to take about a month. Is there any housing that of that's available out there for that, or is that still stuff you're working on?
We have hotels around that we could put a customer in. Right now, we haven't worked out that specific of the details because we're about 7 months out, I think, from starting any program like that.
Okay.
So things like that we still have to figure out. exactly how it's going to work. But
And what about avionics in the helicopter? Does the 195 come with some avionics?
yes, it comes with avionics installed. There's 3. They're all glass cockpits. So somebody buying now, they have an option of 3 different avionics packages and the different glass displays. They're using one is the Dynon, and there's one. What was the other lab? The other display. Okay, well, there's 3 that you can choose from if you're not happy with the one. But some people have asked about putting in Garmin's and things like that, which they can do, but the cost would be a little bit higher for that system. Yeah.
And where are you located on the field?
Okay, if you come in the Celebration Way entrance, it's not Mobile Way, it's the second right. If you turn right there, you'll see the helicopter sitting out front. You can't miss it. So it's booth 90, sorry.
And I'm assuming you also have a website if somebody wants to go look at it, because unfortunately the show's over.
The show's over. We really appreciate you guys having us on now. We'd have liked to get on earlier if possible, but we didn't realize the interest would be so high either. So we're at least glad we could talk about it now. But yeah, the website, if somebody wants to go check it out, is www.scout.aero, and that's AERO. And there's some videos on there of it in flight. There's some videos on there of the facilities back where they do some of the proprietary parts and everything, and you can see how everything works and it's come together. So.
And lots of videos and all the specifications on the website.
There's more specifications on there. A lot of people have asked about other paint schemes. There's a couple of different paint schemes you can look at, color schemes set up on there already.
Do the pieces come pre-painted?
They'll come pre-painted, so everything is just basically a bolt together.
Also,
as much as we can make it.
You don't even have to worry about painting the aircraft.
Yeah, and if there is a custom paint option that needs to be painted after for whatever reason, we are working with a painter already that's in Coatesville that we can use. So,
would the paint have to be stripped off, or can you get an unpainted version that you can then paint?
I'm sure
you don't know yet.
They'll work that out exactly as it comes, depending on what they need.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're very flexible with and able to accommodate the needs of the customer depending on what their desires would be for the helicopter.
Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. Some people want specific things. We had some people stop by. We're trying to take constructive criticism for anything that could be designed better, but most people, they thought it was really intelligently designed, and one guy said he wanted, Americanize it, basically put a magazine. There's a lot of leg room in the middle, and he said, well, you could just take that up with some magazine racks and cup holders and stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, we could do that. So, whatever they want.
If you want to, eat into your useful load.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So.
Or you could just bring a bag, Yeah, everybody's got their own ideas, and that's one of the great things about experimental aircraft is that you can customize things that will fit your needs on these stuff.
Yeah, and we had some comments about seats and things like that. We talked yesterday with I think it was Jay Black from the Oregon Aero, and they do like different seats and things like that. If somebody didn't want that good seat, or they could do like a tubing and a webbing type of thing, whatever.
Save a little weight and increase your useful load. Now it's a 3-seat. Are there one set of flight controls or 2 set of flight controls?
Okay, there are 3 seats and 2 sets of controls, but to get the second set of controls in, you have to remove the collective from the right hand side.
Remove the collective from the right hand.
One of the flight controls you have to
get 3
you have to remove to get the third seat in.
Okay.
But it comes out really easy, and this one doesn't have it, but the next one is going to have a stowage point for both the cyclic and the collective controls on a side panel, so you can take them with you, and then if you get somewhere and somebody wants to fly with you, you'll be able to install them and go.
Nice. Now, what kind of market are you looking for? Are you looking for just individual owners of these aircraft, or are you kind of looking towards possible flight schools?
Well, right now, the experimental class helicopters are not to be used for any commercial purpose, so we can't really do anything with flight schools and stuff like that, but they wanted to kind of encourage the adventure spirit, private ownership, and keep it at right now it's at $195,000, which is still, it's expensive, but for a helicopter in that class, if it were to be certified, would be a lot more. I mean, the cost would double. So they want to keep it somewhat affordable for people that are interested, and let them have the ability to to have the repairman certificate to do their own inspections and maintenance, things like this. So, but any commercial application is not supposed to be used for experimental.
Now, have you looked into any possibility of getting the certified version, or is that on a long-term plan, or you just haven't even looked at that yet?
Well, we've asked about it. Some of the engineers and the leadership of the company have said it's possible, but probably they're not going to really consider it until 2 or 3 years and see how it goes with the experimental version. But people really seem to like it, so who knows?
So you have some options there.
Yeah.
Now, home builders, again, they love their customizable, and a lot of people like their jet engines. And any thoughts of putting a jet power into your helicopter?
As far as like a turbine engine?
A turboprop.
We also asked about that.
Yeah,
so a couple
engine.
people have asked. They're not really considering it because it's just too light. It's not really practical for that. Now, if they had a bigger helicopter come out later and they wanted some, it would be feasible to do that, then they would probably do it. But they said it's not really needed for it. And the piston engines that they have, we've talked. That's one of the good things about being at the show is other people coming by. We talk with a bunch of different engine groups and things like that. So there's people pitching different ideas about different ways we could do it. Some engines are lighter, things like that. So they're definitely considering all options like that. But as far as turbine, we're not really considering that just yet.
And for your engines, are you using a standard magnetos on it, or do you have electronic ignition or a combination of both?
It's electronic ignitions, fuel injected. This price, we have a electronic governor, and it also has cyclic trim. So people seem to be really happy with those options. It kind of lets the pilot relax a little bit. And future models, we're looking at fitting it with an autopilot system, but that's going to add to the price, of course, because more complex system going in there. But some people want that, so we're talking to companies about doing something like that. And I think that's really something that we'll probably have nailed down for next year. We'll have one out here flying, and we'll know more about these extra options that people can pick and things like that.
Wow, it sounds like you're putting together a heck of a helicopter here, and lots of thought and study put into building and designing it and flying it, and it sounds like a very neat aircraft. One more time, where are you located on the field? If anybody happens to be on the field and they haven't found you yet,
we're in Exhibit Booth 90, which is just down the second right after you come in the Celebration Way entrance.
And what's your website one more time?
It's www.scout.aero.
All right. Well, we have been talking to Shane Taft and Vladimir Kurlov of Scout Helicopters, and you're listening to EAA Radio.
Back now on EAA Radio with a 2006 classic interview.
You're listening to EAA Radio on AM 1210 and 100.7 FM, a series of Part 15 devices. And, of course, you're listening to EAA Radio on the Internet, airventure.org. Click on the left-hand side of the screen at airventure.org, and you'll go to a page that has our link, and you can find out a little bit about us and maybe write a comment to us at eaaradio@eaa.org, or if you want to call us, 920-230-7810. First day of AirVenture. We've had a great time. Right now in the studio with me is Laura Uselding of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the agency TSA. And so why don't you first, since there's a lot of strata up and down, and U.S. Department of Homeland Security is a new cabinet-level position, or the secretary is, but I mean, it's a whole new department that was created not too long ago, and so a lot of people don't understand where everything fits in.
Sure. The TSA, or Transportation Security Administration, is one of 20-odd agencies under Department of Homeland Security. You'll find FEMA, Customs and Border Protection, ICE, and we are all located here on the grounds in the Federal Pavilion if anybody would like to stop by and visit us. The TSA was created after 9/11 to ensure the transportation network of the United States. So most visibly, people will see our transportation security officers, formerly known as screeners, at the checkpoints at over 450 commercial airports around the nation. And then we also work with our rail partners, general aviation, highway, and many other modes of transportation to ensure that all those transportation network is secure.
That's kind of interesting because most people, when they think of TSA, because I guess that was the most talked about when it was created, is the airports. However, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the things that TSA does as far as the rail networks and the roads, because I think overseas a lot of the security problems and terrorist incidents involved rail.
Right, and one of the very great things that we're doing with our rail partners, just the week of July 4th, rail grants were given out. So state and local law enforcement and government are working very closely with the TSA as we administer those grants, and then work with an Amtrak or another rail partner to make sure that we are all partnering together and working on that security plan, same that you would do with an airport. The other resource the TSA has deployed to the nation's rail systems as well as airports are National Explosive Detection K-9 teams. So these would be local law enforcement officers, sometimes, let's say for Chicago, we would have Chicago police officers who go through a 10-week course at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. It's the only kind in the nation, this type of explosive detection program. And then these officers are matched with a canine handler or canine dog in San Antonio and then get deployed back to both rail and airport. And we have over 400 who've now graduated from that program and can be seen at mass transit, your local commuter systems in some cities, and rails across the U.S.
So gone are the days of the happy hobo romantically riding the rails with his harmonica.
Exactly. They might have a wet nose waking them up.
Yeah, I bet so, and certainly not asking to be petted. No. Also been in a discussion, at least in the media lately, is port security, especially with discussion, and this has nothing really to do with TSA, but more the discussion about foreign ownership of ports, so that really highlighted about, well, what's coming in and what's really being checked.
And exactly. And another of our partners is the Coast Guard. And they are usually the lead for a lot of the port issues. But again, TSA is part of Department of Homeland Security, and we're one big federal resource whose mission is to protect the nation, and that's all transportation systems, all transportation modes.
In developing the TSA and some of the procedures, what has the TSA discovered about how people flow in and out of our borders and around the country, and exactly what hasn't been secured and really should have been secured?
And that is another of our partners, the Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, and ICE gets involved in that as well. They are also in the Federal Pavilion. And again, the TSA's role in that is more at the airport side. Really, Customs would be the ones to see people coming in from overseas. However, TSA, we have over 43,000 as we're under a congressional cap to have 43,000 transportation security officers in the nation who can be used as a resource should the need arise and wherever they need to be deployed to.
But certainly, what are some of the weaknesses that had been discovered, other than some of the obvious one of people maybe trying to carry weapons on board an airplane and so on and so forth like that?
Weapons are a prohibited item, so definitely that is where we are at the front lines. Our TSOs and the FSDs, the Federal Security Directors, are working very closely with the airport and the airlines to make sure that everybody's airport security plan is top-notch. And then at the checkpoint, we are still seeing firearms coming through, so that is one tip that I'd like to share with people who are traveling commercially and maybe who haven't traveled since 9/11, is to visit our website at www.tsa.gov. There's an extensive list of prohibited and permitted items, both for your carry-on and your checked baggage. Firearms are a prohibited item, and you could accrue a fine for bringing those through the checkpoint. You must properly declare those to the airlines and have them properly stored in a hard-sided case, no ammunition. So yes, the TSA is very heavily involved, and that is our area of expertise, is making sure that we are securing the aircraft so that another 9/11 does not happen. And the border issues I really leave up to the Customs and Border Protection.
Most of the people here are in general aviation, and of course the TSA mostly is about securing the transport hubs, but TSA can offer help to airports who are trying to at least be more conscious of who's using them and what kind of threats there might be.
Exactly. The Federal Security Director has a staff at every airport that includes aviation security inspectors and is a free resource for the FBOs, the GA community, to utilize them to come out and do a free security assessment of their area and work together and partner with the local law enforcement entity to ensure the safety of the GA community. Some of the GA recommendations that TSA would offer are always lock your aircraft, don't leave keys in an unattended aircraft, use a secondary lock if available, and lock your hangar when unattended. Also, we have a number to call that if for any non-time critical security concerns or suspicious incidents, GA people can call 1-866-GA-SECURE.
And it's still up to the local airports how much they want to invest in security. I suppose local ordinances may come into play as well.
When it comes to the airport, which is either private or can be city-owned, the TSA and the airport partner and airlines all work together to put together, or the TSA will regulate them on their airport security plan. So every airport must be in compliance with that airport security plan. And then, the GA, the FBOs that fall under that also have similar requirements as well under that airport security plan. And the TSA works very closely with them. And again, like I said, couldn't provide that security assessment to beef up security.
I fly Gulfstream 2, and one of the recent alerts that made the rounds of all the aviation publications is about Learjets and Gulfstreams. Now, whether there were specific threats against that or those were the most well-known models, certainly security threats are now filtering down to business aircraft and to, at some point, probably personal aircraft. Tips for the general aviation pilot about securing their own aircraft?
Sure. I mean, we're in a time of obvious heightened security. We have remained so since 9/11. That covers all modes of transportations, rail, as we said, mass transit, airports. So it is important that we all remain vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and that we all partner together. And the agency, DHS-wide, is partnering with all of its state and local and government entities to make sure that we're all in partnership and we're all creating a safe environment for the American public.
Laura, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Laura Uselding is with the Transportation Security Administration, an agency of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. You're listening to EAA Radio.
Let's go back to 2004 for this classic interview.
You're listening to EAA Radio, 1210 AM, and we're talking with Judy Rice of the Civil Air Patrol. Judy, tell me about what you do.
What do? I have a lot of fun. I can't believe I'm having so much fun, and I'm all about education. I'm about educating kids and teachers. And actually I began with EAA. And began about 8 years ago with EAA, and I worked with KidVenture, a bunch of volunteers, and we put KidVenture together. And a year ago, I decided, well, you know what? Let's see what other horizons there are, and I joined CAP. So I'm really all about the teachers with CAP. I work very closely with teachers, providing them materials, education materials, opportunities, and talk to those kids about flying machines. There are different components to Civil Air Patrol. One of the less known components is the teacher component, and actually we are the official auxiliary of the Air Force. In 1948, Congress blessed us and said that you had 3 missions in life. And one is cadet programs. That's what most people think of Civil Air Patrol. Those are the kids running around, helping a lot with the airplanes and parking and everything. There's operations, search and rescue. That's the other very well-known component to CAP. Homeland Security, and then aerospace education. And we are the best kept secret.
Now, what do you have to do with the Homeland Security?
Homeland Security, we are the second responder, and we're working on some high technology glass cockpit with Cessna, where we will be the second responder. They need to find someone, something, and we're working with satellite imaging, and we'll help locate it. We were the second responders on September 11th. The GA conference in Georgia, we help with security with that. So we have very dedicated, well-trained volunteers in the field, in corporate aircraft that are equipped with satellite imaging. It's very impressive technology.
That sounds like it. How old do you have to be to get into the Civil Air Patrol?
You have to be 13 years old. My son was in CAP, and it's really an excellent program. There are 5 elements to the Civil Air Patrol and being a cadet. One of them is leadership. And if you talk to any industry leader, especially aerospace, leadership, moral standards, understanding responsibility, that's really key. I don't know if any of you have heard of Killer Chick.
No.
Killer Chick. She attests to being a cadet and what she learned. And she's actually the fine young pilot that landed the A-10.
Oh.
From what I have seen of the Civil Air Patrol, I mean, the highest honors go to everybody involved, because the Civil Air Patrol gets some of the worst duty that I have ever seen, and they are always out there in the hot sun, parking cars, marshaling aircraft, helping with young eagles, doing whatever it takes to make sure that that air show is as smooth as possible.
Thank you, Ed, very much for recognizing those young people out there that really are. I look at them in their BDUs and just sweating away in those boots they're wearing, and the heavy duty and the responsibility that these young people are trained to do. And they're very dedicated. They're very well trained, and they are much more than just kids out there marching around. They really take their responsibilities very seriously, and they hold that leadership and that moral responsibility. And the adult, we have cadets and senior members from across the country here on their own time and their own dime, just like us as EAA members. You know, we're here on our own time and our own dime, and they're just here because they love EAA, they love airplanes, they love flying, and they just love doing their duty.
You normally see a lot of young men in the Civil Air Patrol suits. Now, this is open to young women also, right?
Absolutely. One of my personal goals is to open the world of aviation to females. I didn't start flying until I was 40. That's a long time of not flying when I always wanted to. So one of my personal goals is to open the world. And keeping in mind that not only the cadet program in Civil Air Patrol, but for every teacher that we reach and light up on the opportunities in the aerospace industry, we're not just talking being behind the controls. You know, we need engineers. The average age of the engineer today is 51. That means that, you know, it's not going to be too long, just like EAA members and CAP members, we're not going to be around. So opening the world to females, it is a high percentage of males, not only in the aviation world, but as we're growing them. You know, as we're growing these young people, we're not communicating enough to those females and diversity. You know, we need to let everyone know that this is here for them. They just need to grab a hold of it. They need to work really hard, and they need to do it. And just for everyone's information, I have some learning disabilities, and if at 40 years old I turn my numbers and I can get my instrument ticket, so can you.
I've got a 9-year-old little girl back at the campground listening on the radio right now. She's just itching to fly, and I'm sure she'd be a candidate for the Civil Air Patrol also.
Civil Air Patrol, and you pilots out there, let's fly those kids. I'm a young Eagle pilot, and a weekend does not go by in my little 2-seater Grumman I'm not flying a dozen kids. Let's get those kids in the air. Then not only get those kids in the air and turn them on, but let's turn those teachers and parents on. You know, it's never too old to tell someone they can fly. We don't need to start young, but we should start as young as we can, and it's never too late to start flying. So let's get our cheerleaders out there, because every teacher, 30 kids, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Is there an age limit? The opposite end of the spectrum, you've got a 13-year-old, you can be a Civil Air Patrol person.
We take them from I don't particularly care for this term, but cradle to grave. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cradle to grave, you can be a Civil Air Patrol.
So I could join.
You most certainly could join.
Wow.
Yes, you can. And then you can fly. And then some of the CAP members are not really in it for the flying part, which is, you know, we need every single help. It's like a ground crew for a Young Eagle event. Yeah, I was a ground crew before I flew. So we need every single person, each one of us, to go out there and spread the word. And then as we spread the word, bring them into our family of flying.
We're 1210 AM EAA Radio.
And now an interview from the EAA Radio archives from 2022.
And good morning. Welcome from the Ron Scott Communications Center. We are live from the stand. We are very honored to be joined by one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, Lieutenant Colonel James Harvey. Welcome to the show. Good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
So, how has Oshkosh been so far?
So far, so good.
How long have you been here?
I've been here over the years, quite a few years, but it's the latest trip I've been here since Sunday.
Okay, good. I was going to be worried if you said that today was your first day. So you're here as one of the Tuskegee Airmen. You're here with the Red Tail Squadron from CAF. You're doing lots of interviews. They're keeping you kind of busy, aren't they?
Yes, I stay busy, which is good.
And why is that good?
Stay out of trouble.
That's right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your life. You grew up in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And when did you get interested in aviation? When did flying kind of come into your purview?
It's an interesting story. I was in my front yard, and I heard this noise. I lived out in the country town, and I heard this noise, and I looked up, and it was a flight of P-40s flying in formation. And I said, I'd like to do that one day, and that was it.
Oh, okay. Not quite a P-40, but a T-28. Close enough. So how did you enlisted to be in the Army Air Corps, but they were originally going to have you be an engineer, correct?
This airplane over here, I can't hear.
Yeah, originally you were going to be an engineer, not a pilot, right?
Well, that wasn't my choice.
Right. It's the Army way.
Right. Now, when I finished basic training in Jefferson Barracks, Missouri, they put me in the Army Air Corps engineers, driving bulldozers, graders, carryalls. Yeah. My mission was to go into the jungles of the Pacific, doze out an area, and build an airfield. And we used to go out and practice every day in a little town called Accotink, Virginia.
Okay.
Not too far from Fort Belvoir. And every day this dust and just a big mess. And I said, no, this isn't for me. So I applied for cadet training. There were 10 of us that went to Bowling Field to take this exam, 9 whites and myself. We took the exam. We finished. 2 of us had passed.
Okay. And you were one.
I was one, right.
And then from there, what happened?
Okay, from there I was sent to Biloxi, Mississippi to Keesler Field for 30 more days of basic training. Then when I finished my basic training, they sent me to Tuskegee, Alabama. The rest is history.
Which aircraft did you fly in your primary and basic training?
In primary, I flew the PT-19 Fairchild.
Okay. Yeah.
More like a fighter aircraft. Yeah. It was good aircraft.
Anything between that and the T6?
Oh, I flew the T6 in advance.
Right.
But before we got there, we were in basic.
Yep.
And that was the Vultee vibrator, the BT-13 that we flew then. And then in advance, the T6.
So you flew the BT-13. Now, I've heard various stories on how it's got its nickname, the vibrator. Do you have a theory as to why they call it that?
It would vibrate.
Well, was it the canopy or was it the engine? What was it that made it vibrate? Or all of it?
The whole airplane would vibrate.
But it got you trained up, right?
I'm sorry.
It got you trained, though. It helped you learn how to fly.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah, if you knew the limitations of the aircraft and yourself, you've got it made.
Good. At Tuskegee, then you flew the T6.
Yes, in advance we flew that.
Yeah,
yes.
And you were then qualified in the P-47, correct?
Well, first fighter I flew was the P-40.
Oh, so you did get to fly your dream airplane.
Right.
Good.
Yes.
And then the P-47.
That was my dream at that time.
Okay. Dreams change, don't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but when you graduated, actually the war was coming to an end before you were deployed overseas, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. But you stayed on in the Air Force or Army Air Corps after the war.
Right.
And I guess one of your career highlights was the 1949
Top Gun weapons
Top Gun.
meet?
Yes.
Yes.
And that was in the P-47.
Yes, it was.
And we're talking with Lieutenant Colonel James Harvey, one of the original Tuskegee Airmen. And tell us about that competition. That was a pretty unique competition. The first time it was held, and you guys really put on a show.
Yes, we did.
So
how much time do we have?
As much time as you need.
Okay. Let's see. How do I want to start this thing? The weapons meet was held in May of
1949.
65. No, 49.
49.
I'm okay.
Right
May of 49. And I'm going weak here. Okay. You can hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. And our competitors were flying P-51s and F-82s. Now, the F-82 looks like two P-51s welded together, one wing and one horizontal stabilizer, two fuselages. And we were flying the obsolete P-47. It was obsolete, but it was still a good aircraft. Now, the competition was aerial gunnery at 12,000 feet and aerial gunnery at 20,000 feet, dive bombing, skip bombing, rocket firing, and panel strafing. And the first day of the meet, we had aerial gunnery at 12,000 feet. And let me back up here. They're going to award 2 trophies, one for high individual and one for high group. And so at the end of the day, on the 12,000-foot missions, Captain Temple of our team was leading as high individual. Okay, the next day we have dive bombing. Dive bombing, you come over your target about 12,000 feet, roll over, drop straight down, line up on the target, release your bombs, and pull out by 2,000 feet, hopefully. If you don't, you can get into trouble. Anyway, no one did very well that day, but still, Captain Temple of our team was leading as high individual. The next day we have skip bombing. Now, skip bombing, you come in very low to the ground, your propeller clearing the ground by about a foot. You're so low that when you release your bombs, they don't have a chance to nose over, so they hit flat and skip through the target. Now, Captain Temple had 6 for 6. Stewart had 6 for 6, and I had 6 for 6. So at the end of the day, Captain Temple is still leading as high individual. The next day we have rocket firing. Now, same configuration, 2 rockets per aircraft, 3 missions, 3 pilots, so that's 6 rockets. Captain Temple had 6 for 6, Stewart had 5 for 6, and I had 5 for 6. So at the end of the day, Captain Temple is still leading as high individual. And, okay, the next we have, and final mission is panel strafing. Panel strafing, they have a target erected on the ground, about a 60-degree angle, and we come in at about a 40-degree angle, so 90 degrees to the target. Well, let me back up a bit before I mention that. We are in a position to take everything. They don't like that. So, oh boy, what was I going to say? Don't get old.
So you're all leading the competition.
Yes.
You've completed all of the runs.
No, this is the last.
The last one.
The last event,
okay.
right? And the panel strafing.
Yep.
Anyway, we had our panel strafing.
He said bullets.
Bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, on panel strafing, you use bullets. That's right. And sorry about that, folks. Well, anyway, on this last mission of panel strafing, like I said before, Captain Temple had been leading through all of this. But on the last panel strafing, he was aced out of first place by a man in the P-51 outfit. But so he didn't win that. But that's okay. We won the meet.
Right.
However, we were never recognized as the winner. The Air Force Association puts out a magazine every month. Once a year, they put out an almanac. One of the items in the almanac are the winners of the 1949 weapons meet through present day. Now, today it's called Red Flag. Right. It's altogether different, right? However, we were listed as unknown. Then in 1995, I think it was April 95, I had a call from my group commander, Colonel William A. Campbell of the 332nd. And
did you get a call from Campbell?
Yeah, talking to Colonel Campbell. Oh, boy. And Colonel Campbell asked me if I had any information on the 49 weapons meet. Yeah. I said, no, I didn't. Maybe Stewart does. So he called Stewart. Stewart said he didn't have anything. He could probably find it at Nellis. It was Las Vegas Air Force Base. Now it's called Nellis Air Force Base. So he went to Nellis. He found what he was looking for and presented it to the newly formed United States Air Force. And as of September of 49, anyway, as of September 65, it shows the 332nd as the winner of the 1949 weapons meet.
Excellent.
46 years. They knew who won, but they just didn't want to recognize us as being the winners.
Well, I'm glad they finally came to their senses and recognized you.
Now, I was wondering if you had anything at Nellis stating that the 332nd Fighter Group or Tuskegee Airmen had won the meet. There wasn't anything. As of January the 12th, 2022, we finally have something at Nellis Air Force Base that says the 332nd or the Tuskegee Airmen won the first ever Top Gun weapons meet.
Excellent.
Quite a few years, but it's there finally.
Very good.
Right? 73 years.
A great end to the story, sir, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share that with us this morning. We're talking with Lieutenant Colonel James Harvey, one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, and one of the team members of the first Top Gun competition at Nellis in 1949. I'm Steve Buss. This is From the Stand, and you're listening to EAA Radio.
Let's go back to 2013 for this classic interview.
Good morning. We're back. This is Digital Dave.
And I'm Fast Eddie.
And we're trying to get started here on day one of AirVenture 2013.
I think I'm vapor locked this morning.
Yeah, well, hold on. I'll kick you later.
Thank you.
And we are joined by Mr. Greg Wilkinson of Spot. That's all it says, Spot. It doesn't say Spot Technologies, Spot this. It just says Spot.
Oh, I love the website, findmespot.com. That's great.
All right, it's obviously not a well-trained dog named Spot. So tell us about Spot.
Well, Spot was kind of an interesting story. We've been in the satellite business for years. Spot's actually a wholly owned subsidiary of Globalstar, which is a satellite company. We've been around since the mid-90s. And round about 5-6 years ago, one of our engineers, who actually is a genuine, honest-to-gosh rocket scientist, Bob Bennett, came up with an idea for a life-saving satellite consumer product that he thought he could get on the market for under $200, and he thought it could do it in under a year. He told our CEO about it, and he told him about it at 7:30 in the morning. By 9 o'clock that morning, he had the go-ahead to get the project started, and they actually got the prototype done in less than 6 months. How it affected me was really quite strange, because when they developed this thing, they weren't thinking about aviation at all. They were thinking about hikers, backcountry skiers, cyclists, all that sort of thing. People that are playing and working in the outdoors. And I'm the only person in the company that flies.
Wow, minority.
So at the time I had a Cherokee. I got an RV9A now, and a longtime EAA member. I've been coming to AirVenture since before it was AirVenture, about 15, 20 years ago. About 1996, I had one of the prototypes of Spot, and first weekend I had it, I flew across Lake Erie with it, and it worked like a charm. It was just great. I sent one to most of the major magazines in the aviation, and it just took off like crazy. AOPA pilot called it. They said, hey, this thing wasn't invented for aviation. They weren't thinking about aviation at all. But Ian Twombly said it was he described it as an aha moment for general aviation. And so how it affected me was that it absolutely destroyed all my free time. I had started building an RV-7A just before we came out with this, and then of course all my free time just disappeared. We ended up the RV-7A will now probably be in a retirement project. Went out and found a really nice RV-9A, and that's what I'm flying now. But where it's taken us in the last 5 years is absolutely astounding. Aviation has absolutely embraced Spot. The first year we had it here at EAA, I think, was in 2007, and we went through 1,000 units in just that 1 week. We've now got over 500,000 spots in service. The really gratifying thing about it is we've now had over 2,400 rescues around the world. This is not tests or not anything like that. 2,400 real rescues around the world. We're averaging over a rescue a day right now with our SOS button, and it's really gratifying when you're working here at AirVenture, and someone will come up and thank you for saving their husband who had to put his plane down on a river in Alaska, and within an hour he's pressed the SOS button and he's been rescued and flown out. So that it's been quite a whirlwind for the last 5 years, and the product has evolved. We're actually introducing 2 new products at AirVenture this week.
Wow! So you can rest assured you guys underestimated the demand.
Certainly in aviation, yeah. The guys that we're rescuing a lot are hikers and skiers, and actually a lot of motorcyclists too. And there's actually a fair bit of bleed over as well, because a lot of people that are pilots are typically fairly active in other areas too. So you'll find them doing boating, you'll find them doing hiking and skiing, all the other activities that people will use their Spot for. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we've had so many rescues, is because people are using it all the time. They're using it for the tracking. They can track themselves every 10 minutes. People back home can follow their trip. They can follow their trip on when they're flying. They can do it on their hiking, their motorcycling, any other kind of adventures that they have. And so when they really need it, when they really get into a jackpot and they need help or they need rescue, it's there. They know how to use it. The batteries are up, and it's there and ready to be used.
Well, how does it work?
Well, Spot is entirely satellite. Okay, this is a key thing. We own a satellite network, so we've just launched another 32 satellites. So we've got our old network. We've got about 70 satellites in orbit. When you press the SOS button, for example, let's take it here's how I go flying with Spot. Okay, let's take it that way. When just before I take off, I press the OK button. And that sends a message to my wife, my 2 sons, and a few friends, and they get a message saying, hey, Greg's here, everything's fine, no worries, here's where I am. And they get that message either by text or by email. Now, remember, it's been sent by satellite, so it works pretty much everywhere, from any backcountry strip or anywhere. But they get that message. They also get it with a Google map that they can see exactly where I am. So they can see, Greg's at the airport. He's goofing off. He's going flying again. Okay.
Yeah. Does your boss get these messages?
Yeah, really.
He's not on the distribution list, believe it or not. Then just before I take off, I press the tracking button. And in track mode, every 10 minutes, automatically, while I'm flying, with the new unit, we can get it down to every 2.5 minutes. So while I'm flying, it kicks out at regular intervals, just kicks out my position, puts it on a Google map. They can see exactly where I am, and they can follow my trip along. When I land, I can press another button, which I've got conditioned to say just landed. They can see where I am. They can see everything's fine. No worries. That's a successful flight. If things were not so successful, we've got 2 levels of help. We've got a help button, which means it's a non-life-threatening emergency. Maybe I've been forced down by weather. I've just had really popular with the sailplane guys. So when they have to land out, they press the help button, goes to the buddies. They know exactly where to come with the trailer.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. And so that's the help button, a non-life-threatening emergency. And then, as we said, we've got the SOS button. That's when it's serious. That goes to search and rescue along with your lat long, keeps going off every 5 minutes. So in case, you're supposed to stay with the wreck, but in case you try to walk out or something, it'll follow you along every 5 minutes. And that's how we have effected over 2,400 rescues in the last 5 years. What's amazing though about the product itself though is the price. I mean, we're doing it for the new Spot 3 sells for $149. The service for everything I just talked about is $149 a year, unlimited use virtually anywhere in the world.
Well, that's saying something. Now, do you find that, do you recommend that a pilot hit the, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble button before he crashes, or that he waits after?
Do it as soon as you can. Like anything else, fly the plane first.
Right.
Aviate, navigate, communicate.
If I'm going down and I realize I'm going down into a pine forest, I might want to hit the button before everything.
Sure,
hits.
hit it now. If the situation resolves itself, maybe just carb ice, it cleans itself out or something, you restore power, or then you can always cancel it. Okay, you press the button, hold it again, it flashes red, and that sends out a cancellation message. Sorry, Dave just goofed again, and
Sorry, I sneezed.
I was wondering if there was an oops button on this thing.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, can we use that?
Sure. Be my guest. Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a concept. How many different models of Spot do you have?
Right now, we have 2 in the market. We've got the one we've had for the last few years is the Spot 2. Very imaginatively named. We have a marketing department that comes up with names. Spot 2, and now the new one is Spot 3. So
they worked long on that.
Really, yeah. We got consultants for that and everything. Spot 2 is our existing unit. It's on the market for about $100. It is locked in at 10-minute tracking. The new unit sells for $149, and it has some advantages over Spot 2. The buttonology is a little bit easier. It takes rechargeable batteries as well as 2 other batteries that you can use on it: the nickel metal hydride and the rechargeables. And it can also be line powered. So you can plug it right into ship's power and not use battery at all. It's also got a motion sensor, so that you can just leave it in track mode all the time. When you land, it'll put out a few pings to let people know you've landed. Then it goes to sleep. When you take off again, you don't have to remember to turn it on. It just turns itself on and starts tracking again. So those are the 2 models. Then the other big news we've got is the satellite phone. We just launched a new generation of satellites, about $1 billion worth of satellites. And with that, we have the new Spot Global Phone, which is a satellite phone, gives you voice and data communications, about 120 countries around the world. Great if you're flying into backcountry strips where there's no cellular coverage. You can have voice on it, so you can open and close flight plans, tell people where you are, all that. You can also do data on it, so you can plug it into a computer, for example, and get the weather products.
Bring up Google Maps. Where am I?
Exactly. Yeah.
Where the heck am I?
What's amazing, though, is the price point. $499 for a satellite phone, and service starting at $25 a month, $24.99 a month for satellite phone service. A lot of people, when they look at satellite phones, they think, oh boy, $1,500 and $10 a minute. Don't want to go there. The prices have come down astoundingly with the new technology that we've got in the new satellite systems. So that's really exciting. We're really looking forward to launching that at AirVenture.
Now, that is strictly a satellite phone. It is not a spot tracker device.
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Where are you at AirVenture?
We are in C building. I believe it's 3059, so just inside the northwest corner of C building. And so we've got our information area there, and then most of the major aviation electronics retailers are handling both Spot satellite messenger and the Spot World phone as well.
Okay, well,
Nice.
I want to thank you for coming in. That's really great. I like the idea of that little Spot thing. Hit the button and someone brings you sandwiches. But anyway.
Pizza! That's great.
All right.
And their website,
yeah.
Their website, WebSpot, is findmespot.com. Check that out. I know I'm going to look at that.
Yep, me too. This is Digital Dave.
And I'm Fast Eddie.
And you're listening to EAA Radio.
Now let's dip into the EAA Radio archives with a classic interview from 2016.
This is Digital Dave.
I'm Fast Eddie.
And this is Hot Start on EAA Radio.
And already I'm losing my voice.
I got mine. My dark, sexy voice is coming on.
Stop it.
Anyway, we'll not even go down that road.
No, we won't, doggone it. Hey, we've got somebody here.
That's nice.
It's great when we have guests, and it's wonderful when they show up. And we have one here that's actually shown up this morning. Carl Stoltzfus, the CEO of Dynamic Aviation. Just a little background here. For those of you who don't know, first off, I'm a motorhead, and I love the Lockheed Constellation. Dynamic Aviation got a hold of Columbine 2, the first presidential airplane to use the call sign Air Force One. They just got her flying, flew her to Bridgewater, Virginia, and I'm dying to go down and take a look at her. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning. How are you doing?
We're doing great. How are you guys doing? You took on a huge project, and you put her back in the air again. How the heck did you do it?
Well, it was a very complicated project. We first found out about the airplane in October of 2014, and I've got a real passion for history. History is my hobby, and it just didn't seem right that airplane would eventually get scrapped. So we started looking at it and put a crew together and went out and put a lot of time in getting it ferryable to bring it back to Bridgewater to do a complete restoration. We want to do it. We want to put it very, very period perfect and do a complete restoration.
Is it safe to say you actually stumbled across this airplane before you knew anything of its history?
That's true, yes. Yeah, I read about it in a aviation magazine, Warbirds International, an article by Ralph Peterson, and a very well-written article, and I mean, it just got to my heart. It was like, you just can't let that airplane sit there. And I talked to my grandson, Gabriel, who was with me today, and we talked about it, and we decided we really had to go do something about it.
Wow.
How long did it take from when you saw this airplane to get it flying again?
It was about a year and a half because it took a little time to put the deal together. I was actually stalling a little bit because I was hoping somebody else would be foolish enough to go buy it, and then we wouldn't have to, and somebody would fly it, but I just didn't want to see it scrapped, and then finally decided that we should do it.
Oh, my. Look what followed me home, Mom.
Yeah, really.
Can I keep it?
I was going to say, it had to have been interesting. You guys were expecting all kinds of quirks, I'm sure. What were the issues that you had to deal with to get this airplane airworthy again?
Well, as in everything, there's kind of like the plus side and negative side. The plus side was that it was sitting in a desert, so therefore the aluminum did not corrode. Mm-hmm. So there was no corrosion in the airplane.
None at all. The basic airframe?
Virtually no corrosion in the airplane.
Wow.
And that's huge. If we would have found, we actually, with a seller who were wonderful people, we actually put an agreement where we had 3 months to inspect it because we were so worried about corrosion. And the more we looked at it, the more we realized it didn't have any corrosion. So the plus side, sitting in a desert, in a hot desert, it didn't have corrosion. The negative side was that everything, if it was rubber, it was gone.
Yeah.
So every hose in the airplane, firewall forward and in the airframe, we had, and then a lot of the fuel system seals were out, bad. And so we had we spent about 8,000 hours of labor just merely getting it ready. But I didn't take any shortcuts. I'm not a shortcut artist. We basically, everything we did right. And we did with interest and with passion and with quality. And so we absolutely flew the airplane 10 hours, getting it back, 0 squawks.
There you go. That's a testament right there.
That is, yeah, right.
Where did you find people and people knowledgeable about that airplane? That's the first question.
Well, there was a guy by the name of Dave Coons who had been flight engineer on Vern Rayburn's Matt's Connie, Mr. No Connies. I mean, our company's Dynamic Aviation. We've done very, very complicated projects with large airplanes, literally all over the world. So this is not like something brand new to us. We operate about 100 airplanes all over the world. So from that standpoint, we're okay. But from a technical knowledge about the airplane, Dave Coons was, and we had, he was the technical guy, and we had a number of our mechanics, a guy by the name of Brian Michaelis. We had a number of our mechanics that were really very, very sharp mechanics, and we took our people and some technical expertise and put it together, and it worked very well.
That's amazing.
What was it like the first time you turned engines on her?
Well, it was just phenomenal. We had it hadn't the engines hadn't run for a very long time. They may have been started one time, but that running an engine at 1,000 RPM and running it at 2,500 RPM for takeoff, that's two different animals. I mean, you can make almost any engine run. So, we did a lot of work before we ever even turned the engines over. We changed all the oil. Changed the oil. We just major work before we ever even tried to start the engines. Then we had one of them fail before we ever got off the ground. So,
well, that's the best place for it to fail.
Yeah, right.
Not once you're off the ground. Oh,
I was going to say you dumped an engine. Where did you get another one?
Well, we were very fortunate. A guy by the name of Rod Lewis, Flying Legends, was in the middle of redoing his airplane, which was the Baton, and which was up in northern Arizona, and he was getting ready to fly it, and he blew an engine, and he needed to borrow one, so he borrowed ours. So, I mean, very good guy. I mean, he helped us out a lot, and we helped him out, and he helped us up. So, in some of these rare airplanes, you got to help each other. Everybody's got to be together and collaborate, and he was very, very gracious to do that. We helped him out, so it worked out. Then we shipped his engine back.
Where did you get the airplane? Which desert?
Oh, it was Marana, which is of course just north of Tucson, like 15 miles north of Tucson. So basically Tucson.
Now, I will say that years back I visited Tucson, and west of Tucson there were some airports that had Connies laying around like old mailboxes. And
it may have been
stuff.
that Avra Valley. It's now Marana, but that may well have been the airport. And there was actually a second Connie there, a 1049 that we bought for parts.
Well, that's good.
I was going to say, were there ever any time in the project that you looked at this airplane and said, "Oh man, what have I gotten ourselves into"?
Well, that was probably every other day. The good thing is that I have a lot of friends and in aviation and in general. And one of my friends is a guy by the name of Scott Glover with Mid-America Flight Museum in Mount Pleasant, Texas. And he came along. He actually brought 10 mechanics out, flew his Lodestar out, and helped us out. So he was a great encouragement. I mean, it's a daunting project. Any way you look at it, I mean, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
to dig this thing out of the desert and make it fly. So had a lot of support, and we all need that. So, but I also had a real strong notion that this was something I was supposed to do. I mean, really, once I looked around the airplane, I had a sort of a inner sense that this was something I was supposed to do.
Was the interior still intact at all?
Well, if most people looked at it and they would say no, I look at it and I say yes, because it didn't have the original seats in it or anything like that. But most of the partitions were in it. The headliner in it. The sidewall was in it. If you walk up in the stateroom where the president would have sat, the buttons that he would have pushed for interphone and telephone and so forth, and the console and everything he had, that's in the airplane. So you can go up there and touch the buttons that President Eisenhower pushed. I mean, this is an incredible airplane from for the 50s. If you want to teach history, that's where we're really interested in using it for training, teaching people. It's a perfect airplane to teach the history of the 50s.
No, that was there you go.
Geography, politics, and so
when you ferried it out, you had redone the engines.
Yes,
those are compound turbo supercharged engines.
They're not turbo compound. They're supercharged, but they're not turbo compound. This is a 749. The turbo compound was on the 1049.
Okay,
but it's still very, very, very complicated.
Well, what I was wondering was, did you actually push it into boost on that takeoff?
No. We actually, Tim Coons, and I think I said Dave Coons. It was Tim Coons. Tim Coons managed the engines, and 2,800 RPMs, what you're allowed to use. He wouldn't let anybody use more than 2,400.
Okay.
So we were very, very cautious with the end. He managed it so the airplane would get home.
Right.
Not so
right.
we would show off to somebody how
Right.
much it would climb.
And you were very lightly loaded, so.
Yes, very lightly loaded, so.
How'd you flush the fuel system? That must have been a job in itself.
Well, it didn't hardly have any fuel in it.
Okay.
So when we put fuel in, everything leaked. So,
Flushed itself.
Overhaul the fuel boost pumps, the fuel selector valves. Yeah.
And the tanks were. Did you have to
we
reseal?
actually had one tank on the way home got so bad we had to transfer fuel out of it to other tanks, and we flew it with one dry tank because it was dripping so bad.
Wow. And there was no in-flight food service.
I hate when that happens. And the movie, of course, was Air Force One.
Yeah. But this is genuinely the first airplane that was, and just a real quick one on that. It was called Air Force One in the air traffic control system. It was not called Air Force One by the public, but genuinely it was called good documentation to show that in the air traffic control system it was called Air Force One.
That's when they coined the term.
That's when they coined the term. Precisely said.
Okay.
Wow. I don't know
What's
about
the future? Bring it back here.
Well, yeah. It ought to wind up here sometime. I keep saying it's 2 to 3 years. You just don't quite know because I'm going to do it right.
Okay.
And we want to get it out on the show and
very good.
Use it for training.
Very good. I want to thank you for joining us, Carl Stotzfuss of Dynamic Aviation.
That's right. The official first Air Force One. The airplane's called Columbine 2. She's a 749 model Lockheed Constellation. I'm doing the happy dance thinking about this. And I'm Fast Eddie.
And I'm Digital Dave, and this is EAA Radio.
Here's an interview from 2009.
And welcome back to EAA Radio. And right now we are joined by Robert Peterson, and he's with the National Park Service. And I was informed, and this really surprised me, that it's the National Park Service that's taking care of the Wright Flyers.
Absolutely.
I thought they were in the Smithsonian.
Well, there are 3 Wright aircraft in the Smithsonian. There's one in Dayton Aviation Heritage National Historical Park. There's one in the National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. There's one in the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. And there's an original Wright airplane in Munich, Germany.
Okay.
So there's a grand total of 7 original Wright airplanes that still exist.
Okay. And do you take care of all 7 of them?
No. We just our park in Dayton, Ohio is involved with just one of them.
Okay.
But we also preserve the places where the Wright story took place. We preserve one of the bicycle shops in which the Wrights worked, the building in which they were actually working when they first became actively interested in the whole idea of powered flight. So literally the birthplace of aviation.
So the memory's a little fuzzy, but now that you say that, I have been to there.
The National Park in Dayton also includes Huffman Prairie Flying Field, which is where the Wright brothers learned to control and maneuver their machine in the air after their return from Kitty Hawk.
So you're taking care of the one Wright Flyer.
The 1905 Wright Flyer 3, the 3rd powered airplane Wilbur and Orville built, and the one they considered to be the world's first practical airplane.
Right, because their first airplane just kind of went straight little turns.
It did not make turns. Their first airplane, the 1903 airplane, makes a total of 4 flights.
Okay.
All 4 in a straight line. All 4 very difficult to control in the air. All 4 end in very hard landings, resulting in damage to the aircraft each time. After a 4th flight, a sudden gust of wind came up. The plane was so badly damaged, it would never fly again. That is now in the Smithsonian, having been restored. Total airtime for that plane in 4 flights, just under 2 minutes.
Wow.
Not exactly a practical machine.
But they learned so much.
They did learn so much, but they realized they still had a lot of work ahead of them. That's back in Dayton in 1904 and 1905. With the Wright Flyer 3, their longest flight occurred October 5th, 1905. In one flight, they were in the sky for 39 minutes, traveling 24 miles in circles and figure eights. And at the end of that flight, they declared they had the world's first practical airplane.
Now, were they still using the wing warping technology on that airplane, or had they progressed to using ailerons at that point?
Well, we don't mention the A word in Dayton. Ailerons were developed in upstate New York by Glenn Curtiss.
Okay.
They were developed in an attempt to get around a portion of the Wrights' patents.
Oh.
And all of the patent infringement suits, the Wrights' patent was upheld in court. ailerons were seen as an infringement.
That seems like completely different technology. I'm a little surprised at that.
But their patent language included text on other possible methods of control.
Okay.
And so the courts upheld that ailerons were an infringement.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not up on my history as much as one would expect.
Well, EAA is and Oshkosh is a fantastic event. Everything that you see here is a result of work coming out of Dayton, Ohio.
Absolutely.
Between the Wright brothers and what is now Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Every airplane that flies owes its existence to Ohio. The perfect shape for a wing, Wilbur and Orville. The perfect shape for a propeller, Wilbur and Orville. Pressurized cabins in airplanes, Wright-Patterson. Most of the instrument systems allowing pilots to fly and navigate come from Wright-Patterson. Night vision technology, stealth technology. All of these things and many more come out of Dayton, Ohio.
You said you have a museum where you, but it's more of a living museum, isn't it? You have all the separate buildings.
We have a number of buildings. The park is actually made up of 4 separate sites scattered around the city. And on October 5th, 2009, weather permitting, we will have a full-scale replica of the Wright's 1905 airplane in the sky above Huffman Prairie Flying Field.
Wow. Now, who are you getting to fly that?
It's a gentleman, EAA member from Eastern Ohio, who has built the plane and flies it himself.
Really? So
it is a truly home-built aircraft.
Well,
down to the engine, which he built himself.
Wow. Well, all of the original Wright flyers were truly home-built aircraft.
Indeed.
So does he do a lot of flying with his airplane?
Not a whole lot. No, he does it for us.
Okay.
This will be the 3rd time that we've had him exhibit his plane in the National Park in Dayton. And it's been immortalized on film. We use it as part of the film that we show on the Wright brothers in Dayton. And he's garnered a lot of attention with the aircraft.
Now, I know that at the 100th anniversary of Kitty Hawk, they tried to fly a replica of that Wright flyer. Not
successfully.
Successfully, right.
Correct.
But that was not nearly as nice of an airplane as this
one.
There
are a number of changes from 1903 to 1905.
Right.
Among other things, you've got a larger wingspan. The elevator is further forward. The rudder is larger and further back. More importantly, by the end of 1905, they actually have separate controls for pitch, roll, and yaw.
Oh, okay.
Which they did not have in 1903.
Okay.
Both the rudder and the wing warping were tied together. Now they have been separated.
All right. Now, was they still laying down in this aircraft?
They are still laying down in 1905. They will not transition to sitting upright until 1908 with what's referred to as the Model A. Think of their long flight, October 5th, 1905, 39 minutes. You're laying there, craning your neck forward to see through the forward elevator.
Right.
There's a limit to how long you can do that.
Right.
So it was a natural transition. But as a result, they had to change their control methods. Instead of using a hip cradle, they're now going to sticks.
Right. And did they go to one stick that did the full motion like we're used to now when they transitioned?
No, they had one stick that would move forward and back. The top of it would be hinged and moved side to side for the rudder, forward and side to side at the same time, and you would have to do it with one hand because your other hand would be on the elevator control.
Aha.
But there was room for a passenger, and the pilot would become a right-hand pilot or a left-hand pilot, depending upon which seat the instructor took for themselves.
Okay.
Because you would control the central wing warping stick with either your right hand or your left.
Obviously, they started it all, but I mean, just going into all the history, I got to say, I just don't know a lot of that.
Well, most people don't. Part of it is the way we teach history in this country. We teach sound bites.
Yeah.
And the sound bite for the Wrights is December 17th, 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. But there's so much more to the story.
That was just the middle of their career.
Yes. And if they had stopped work on December 17th, 1903, they would be nothing more than a footnote in history today. What secures their legacy is turning this idea, this invention of theirs, into a practical, usable machine. And that's what took place in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay. And where are you located if people have questions? Where are you located here in the field where they can come and talk to you about this?
The National Park Service has an exhibit here. We're in the Federal Pavilion, not too far north and east of the control tower.
Okay, now you still have the simulator of the
19.3 Wright airplane, yes.
Which seems to fly a lot better than probably the 19.3 one actually flew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of it helps if you know a little bit about aerodynamics. But yes, it does fly better. Keep in mind the Wright brothers could not go to the library. They could not take a book off the shelf on how to build and fly their own airplane.
Right, they wrote the book.
They are literally having to write it as they go along.
Yes.
Think of it this way. I brought with me a brand new invention that no one else in the world has seen. You get to be the first one to experiment with it. I want you to go. I want you to learn how it operates. I want you to master it. You've got 2 minutes. That was December 17th, 1903.
Right.
Not exactly a chance to really learn how to control and maneuver the machine.
Correct.
So they had to work at that.
Well, then maybe next year, if anybody's tuning in and you've already left, you can come in next year. I'm assuming you'll still have the simulator here?
Yes.
And come in. And throughout the year, you're probably open all year round at Dayton.
The National Park is open. We operate 2 separate visitor centers. And yes, we're open every day except Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day.
And do you have a website they could go to if they want to come and find you?
They can go to the National Park website, www.nps.gov, and you'll find a page for every park in the system.
Excellent. All right. Well, we do thank you for coming in. It's Robert Peterson with the National Park Service, and you're listening to EAA Radio.
Now back into the EAA Radio archives for this interview from 2014.
And here we are down at the Red Barn, a beautiful Monday afternoon. You're on the fly with Jay Machi and H.G. Frauchi's joining me today. And we have with us also the president of Vintage, Jeff Robeson.
Yeah, it's the first time. I finally got him roped in there. I couldn't do it when I was a staff member, but I finally got him to come over here when I was a volunteer, wearing my volunteer.
I'm pretty sure I did it one other time.
I think you did
up in the
very
tower.
first year.
I think
yes.
long time ago.
You came up in the studios when we had the tower on the flight line.
That's right. That's right. So we've been talking about we've talked about 2 airplanes out here. We've talked a little bit about what goes on in a vintage office during a regular day. We talked to Max about the fact that so many things have changed and the kinds of things that are available to members. Let's talk about convention. And the amazing things we've been able to do thanks to the Friends of the Red Barn campaign that we've been running for almost 15 years now. That campaign has allowed us to build a great hangar. It's allowed us to create programs and invest in programs here on the field that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to do without spending membership dollars.
That's very true, HG. The Friends of the Red Barn program this is how we make it happen when it comes to keeping our facilities in tip-top shape for the convention. And the hangar is a good example of one of the things we've been able to do. And we have some additional capital projects on the boards that we're hoping to accomplish over the next couple of years. And there's a lot of things that we'd like to accomplish. And the Friends of the Red Barn Fund is a very critical part of that plan development. So we're looking forward to doing well with the Friends of the Red Barn program. And it's been very successful in the past. People have been extremely generous, some amazingly generous people involved in that. So anybody's ever had a thought of trying to help out and do some more and make us an even better association on the grounds, convention is one of the big things that it takes some money to make these things happen.
And there's multiple levels too. You don't have to be investing your life savings in this program. There are levels for every different type of person.
That's right. And one of the things we did about that program when Charlie Harris and I and Teresa Books and so many staff volunteer directors helped us put that program together. One of the things that was, first of all, was created because we felt funny about spending membership dollars on the convention because not everybody who could was a member could come to conventions. So we wanted to be sure that we were able to not only diversify our income stream, our revenue stream, but create this ability to do these kinds of things, including building a $180,000 hangar, which frankly came in right on budget, right on time. But not only that, we were able to keep that cost down because of the hundreds of man hours that were put in by volunteers.
Not to mention the maintenance it takes to keep this kind of a facility up and looking good and using it for all vintage things. Someday we'd like to set it up where we can actually do things off season, prior or after convention, and have some get together or some sort in there. So that's part of our future plan as well, is with that type of facility.
So if you want to be a volunteer and you find that kind of thing, say you have a particular expertise in electrical work or carpentry or anything like that, we can always find something for you to do. This organization has been built literally and figuratively on the efforts of volunteers. And for instance, we have one staff member, that's Max. He takes care of the day-to-day stuff. But when it comes to taking care of all of the things you see down here in the vintage area, that's not EAA's responsibility, although we always appreciate their help, and they do step in sometimes when we need things done. But in particular, the maintenance, the painting, the grounds look the way they do thanks to the efforts of volunteers. So this is a great place to not only enjoy a visit, but it's a great place to volunteer.
That's a very interesting point when you talk about these volunteers. We have an amazing, diverse group of talented volunteers who come up here, from electricians to ditch diggers to painters. It's all these things go on, so we're able to do a lot of things that we don't have to pay for, just based on the off-season, pre-convention volunteer weekends and stuff. So it works out great.
Yeah, we have a one weekend a month starting in, we do May, June. Do we do April?
April,
May, June. That's right. One weekend a month where we come over, and those of us who either live locally, or a lot of guys come from fairly far away. We got a whole group from Indiana, and you get some folks from Minnesota and Illinois, and we'd love to have more. Everybody is always welcome, and to find out more, probably the easiest thing to do would be to drop an email if they're not already here, if they're thinking about some other time during the year, to drop an email to vintage@eaa.org. Max will see that email and forward it to the appropriate folks. Or they can call 920-426-6110, and that's the main number there for Vintage there in the EA headquarters.
And we do put those dates on the website, the Vintage website. So it's a good place to find those dates pre-convention. Usually around middle of March, late March. Those dates are dated on the website as well.
So let's talk about how many airplanes we've got here and some other statistics. We've got over 400 volunteers, I understand, registered at this point. We typically run just over 500, don't we?
No, actually, the last 2 years we've broken 600.
Wow.
So, yeah, we've got, as of 8 p.m. last evening, we've had 616 airplanes on the ground here in the Vintage area. And it's an amazing group of people. And I say this every year, and just when I think I've had a year where we've seen so many wonderful restorations arrive, and for judging and display, the next year it just seems even more amazing. Things like the number of Lockheeds, we hope to have as many as 8 Lockheed 12s on the field. There's 3 out there right now, and there's another one coming yet today.
Wow.
So we may have as many as there's 8 of them planning on being here. And if all the plans work out, that's what we'll have. In the front yard, I've said it several times in the last couple of days, we've never had a more beautiful front yard display of aircraft in the Vintage area as what we got out there right now.
It's amazing. I mean, it's truly mind-boggling. And as you said, for those of us who've been fortunate to have been here for a long time, I started coming here in the early 80s. I think my first visit here was actually 1976, but the airplanes that keep coming out of the woodwork that you never expected to see fly. I always wanted to see a Vega, but I've never seen one in person that was flown here. I used to see the one in the museum. I've never seen the QED.
Well, that QED is a special thing, too. Jim Moss's airplane, we've been talking about this, and prior to the loss of Jim Moss, it's been 4 years in the making and the coming and planning of having that airplane here, and it's such a wonderful thing to actually finally happen. Yep. So my hat's off to that group of people who actually finished that airplane and brought it all the way from Washington State.
Washington State. Yep.
In memory of Jim.
Yep. In memory of Jim. And then there's one other group out here that kind of started with our J3s to Oshkosh, et cetera, and we're doing the post-war boom. Those airplanes that were built in that batch of airplanes during that great optimism right after World War II, and everybody thought that GIs would be clamoring to buy their own airplanes, so there's quite a production
Luscombe, Cessna 140s, 120s.
Yep. That list is about 14 deep with different aircraft.
Yeah, and we've got a great example of them out there on the group. We've got many, I think we're looking for about 24 airplanes that represent that group, and I'm sure we'll see more. That group, the classic airplane group, typically is the largest group of airplanes we have here on the field. Antiques and contemporary bracket them, but the classics are the most popular airplanes out here on the field, which helps the Vintage Aircraft Association, in fact, be the largest division of a special interest group outside of home builds.
Another thing I want to touch on. Jeff, we have a special group here this year that Vintage appears to be hosting, and that's this Valdez group. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with that.
Yeah, these guys talk about a colorful bunch of fellas. They're a lot of fun. This is something that's going to be really nice. And I'm, I've watched a lot of air shows over all the years, and when they announced this one, I'm thinking, I just love watching these guys. It's the best aviation entertainment that comes around, and we're excited about them.
What's happening with those guys? What are they actually going to do?
Basically, they're going to conduct a competition, and the competition is short takeoff and landings. And if you haven't seen it on TV, some of the cable shows that they've actually showed some of these competitions up in Alaska. It's amazing stuff.
And they're bringing this to the good weather of Oshkosh now.
That's correct. That's correct.
They're going to have a great time out there in front of a big crowd, the biggest crowd they'll ever fly. But it's just, if you're like slow speed flights, say that fast 3 times. If you like flying an airplane right on the edge and taking it exactly where you want it to go in a wonderful short field landing, you are going to be amazed. If you thought you were good at short field landings, watch these guys.
You're talking about takeoffs of 42 feet.
Yeah, they can actually
the 35 feet.
They can take off and land within the circle of the dot out there.
It's amazing.
Yeah, spectacular. So
that's going to be a treat.
It has been wonderful having you down here in the Vintage area. We really appreciate, again, that EAA Radio has us be the leadoff batters on Monday.
Every year.
Every year we come down and enjoy some time with the Vintage Airplane folks. If you have not had a chance to learn more about the Vintage Aircraft Association, you can do so online at vintageaircraft.org, and you can join there. It's a great addition to your EAA membership, and we love having you. We'll send you a magazine every other month that's chock full of good stuff that Jim Busha oversees for us and does a great job. So
hope everybody has a great week. Got a lot going on here.
It will be, and we also have some stuff down here that everybody can enjoy, and that is we've got a couple restaurants down here.
We do.
That are sponsored by Vintage, right? A couple restaurants, got a great camping area. We have forums and workshops going on right here next to the Red Barn. We have all these type clubs. How many type clubs do we have?
The last count I heard was, I think it was 27.
So you've got your 27 type clubs in a building just built for type clubs, which is phenomenal. It used to be that leaky tent, and it's a beautiful facility now.
Yep. And they've done a great job with it. And again, we're doing many forums in there, many of them put on by those type clubs right there in that area. Those are in addition to the big forums that they do down in the Forums Plaza. And also we're doing, don't forget the award ceremony. You know, if you've never been here for the award ceremony on Saturday night, it's really great fun to cheer on the folks who took the effort to put those airplanes together, make them as gorgeous as they could possibly be, and then bring them here to Oshkosh. It's great when they rebuild them. We like it even better when they rebuild them and they bring them to Oshkosh.
That's great. Jeff, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you with us on the air.
It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you next year.
Okay, we'll see what we can do.
And HJ, thanks again. We'll certainly be together next year for this once again.
God willing, and the creek don't rise, and my new job lets me do that.
All right, Vintage Red Barn, that's wrapping up on the fly for a beautiful Monday, AirVenture 2014. Tomorrow, quite a treat. We move north on the grounds to the 1 week wonder at the Four Corners Pavilion. It's a new thing. This will be the first year we've involved ourselves in something like that. So that's going to be quite a treat. So that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Everybody enjoy AirVenture 2014. J-Mont G on the fly. See you tomorrow. You're listening to EAA Radio.
Time for a look back at a classic interview from the 2019 EAA Radio archives.
And perfectly on cue, we have a jet taxiing through to give us a little background noise for our next guest. Is Eric Witt. He's the Deputy Command Historian for Headquarters of Air Force Special Operations Command in Florida. Eric, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Steve.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
And I understand this is your first time here.
It is, and growing up in Chicago, I'm surprised I never made it up this way before I joined the Air Force.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background and your time with the Air Force.
Well, I enlisted in 85 and did maintenance, so it was air ground equipment. The support equipment you see around a lot of the aircraft began on that, did that for 15 years. Fortunately or unfortunately, sometimes I was able to retrain and became an Air Force historian as an enlisted person, and then retired and went into the civilian world, working for Department of Defense as a historian. So I've covered F-16s from the 27th Fighter Wing out at Cannon, B-2 bombers, a lot of command and control stuff, forward and back operations. And then in 2009, I moved into Special Operations Command, did a lot of staff writing for that, and then went over to Europe and did headquarters in Europe. I covered a lot of there for a few years and came back, and now I'm a little higher up on the chain. Get to run things instead of write things, so it's nice.
There you go. How does one train to be a historian?
Well, it was interesting. As enlisted, we didn't have to have a history degree, but we needed to do some things that could prove our worth, and you had to have at least 18 credit hours. So a lot of them that became historians earned their bachelor's and master's degree after they retrained into the field. And they teach you research and writing and things like that. And a lot of it is handling classified information and making sure we archive that properly. And then, over the years you grow in that, and really it's seat of your pants. This is awkward for me in a little bit because I'm used to asking veterans questions and commanders questions instead of having to answer it myself. So,
what if we had to put down a job description? What would it be? What does your daily day look like?
Primary duty is to research and write on current operations. So, you can imagine in special operations, especially the amount of pressure on that to get that story right and get all those operations that are going on, which, they're all over the place, getting that consolidated, writing the accurate story, making sure, the general knows what we're doing, and having that archive so, when things become unclassified or even some of the unclassified stuff, researchers can get to that and write the true story of what's happened, in the wars.
And how far back does the historian division in the Air Force go? Is it all the way back to the very first days of the Air Force?
Sure. Hap Arnold was instrumental in starting that program, and it was important to him. Without that, and personally, I think the Air Force has the best out of the services history program, and he made sure a lot of that was done. The markings on these planes, the squadrons that ran them, the operations they did, especially on the planes you see here, I've been amazed at some of the accuracy of that. They got that because Hap Arnold made sure that that was collected and happened that way.
Excellent. Well, we're at an airport. What can you expect?
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it too. All the great noise from all of these airplanes. We'd like to talk a little bit about Desert Storm. You were there as on the ground deployed, but also that's one of your areas of expertise as far as being a historian.
Sure, and if you look at that, because we're at the special operations side of it, when I was deployed for that, I was actually in Guam, so it was a lot of the buildup and the B-52s and all that, and then moving the bombs forward off of there. So it was a busy time for us, and going into special operations, I didn't know a lot of that, but coming into it and seeing what they did in Desert Storm was really instrumental, because you have to remember a year prior to that, in May 1990, we finally became a major command. AFSOC did, and then before you know it, we're turning around in August, September, and going over to the desert. So a lot of the lessons and how we're operating today came from that early time. So,
what kind of equipment and personnel were deployed for special operations?
I think immediately was getting our gunships forward and also our MH-53s, because they were concerned with search and rescue, of course. And if you remember back then, September, we didn't know it was going to be several months before they actually started it. So they were ready to go within days and ended up at King Fahd in Saudi Arabia. And then, of course, our MH-53 Pavlos were really key to opening the air war that night, too. So.
With everything that was happening there, were there any difficulties in logistics moving everything from the United States basically halfway around the world?
I think, I looked at it from command and control side where they bedded down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, but putting planes where they needed to go was an important part, getting them there quick and getting them ready, getting people housed. And then they moved to a few bases before they were really set up. So, sure, it was difficult, but AFSOC, even today, we can move at the flick of a switch. So,
what, just in general, for those who don't know, what is the mission and the overall, I guess, thrust of special operations?
Well, I think we have them over here too, combat controllers and some soft medical people. I think what gives us the flexibility is our people, and that's always the most important thing. So we see the beautiful planes. We bring the firepower. It needs to go there, but the people that get in there to open those airfields in obscure places and to do the medical that needs to be done right away, I think, when we look at that mission is get there fast and be able to perform our mission right away. It really gives us the flexibility that the Air Force and our country needs.
The historic records that have been compiled through the years, how do people access those?
Well, if we keep them at the Major Command, right? But we have a commitment to Maxwell Air Force Base and our Air Force Historical Research Agency there. So you can not only get our written records of that, but all the supporting documents that support what we write. And that's what makes us so factual and accurate. I was talking to somebody earlier. We can't write anything down that we don't have something to base the fact on. So terrific stuff. If you're ever doing some college research and stuff, is contact AFHRA. You'll find them online too. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yeah. Oh, we can hear you right over the sound of the tri-motor.
I love it. Look at that.
Taxiing in behind us.
Yeah.
Now, do you work with the Air Force Museum as well?
A little bit. We're really involved in heritage because we have to tell our story to people too. So we're not only locked in a vault writing the stories, having to know what's gone back to World War II, especially with AFSOC, and then display those things. And if you know that museum owns everything in the Air Force. So we're begging and we're trading with them. Our air park is beautiful at Hurlburt, but that's all owned by the National Museum. Right now we're working on, if people know the story of the carpetbaggers in World War II, is getting that story told a little better, putting some displays up, especially around our base. That was secret for so long, and now that kind of stuff's coming out. We work with the museum to get that.
You mentioned working with veterans. Do you do that as a written or recorded sort of interview?
Yeah, it's important. In fact, the other historian that's with me today, she's an intern with us. She's going to do a real historian interview with him, Colonel Hardy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and
Tuskegee Airman.
Yeah, he was Tuskegee, and everybody knows that. But they don't know that he flew the AC-119 in Vietnam. So we have some gaps in our history. And I said, there's a perfect opportunity to get those filled in. Because no matter what the situation reports and the misrep reports, getting that personal knowledge, and he's been there and he's pulled the trigger and he's seen it, that's invaluable. So, all the way back to World War II. And like I said, I'm more comfortable interviewing than being interviewed.
And how do you, because their eyewitness accounts are often different, how do you reconcile what actually happened with what you may have heard from this person or this person? How do you reconcile and come up with
that's where
what
a lot
hope
of
is the truth?
That's where the research comes in, and that's where we have to prove things. Especially after it's been several years, and it's some kind could be a little difficult because it's very personal to people when they've been there. So trying to learn those skills to not overwalk that line, but to get the truth and match it up. So say they were in Da Nang and you're over here saying Tan Son Nhut, but you can rectify that. And sometimes it's proven by them and our stuff is way wrong.
It's amazing. And it must be fascinating work. And so glad that you're putting the history together so you can share it with current and future generations.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, and you will be on a heritage panel tonight at Theater in the Woods?
There's a heritage panel. I won't be up there, but we'll have some people up there. I encourage them to see that. You want to see the Spooky is down there. The gunship is going to fly with the AC-130J on the Heritage flight this weekend. And we also have the first Air Commando group painted up at the end there with the 5 stripes on that C-47. So that's all AFSOC related, and it's beautiful stuff.
Good. Well, enjoy the panel tonight. I'm sure they'll finish up just in time for the night air show, and you can enjoy that as well.
Great. Thanks for your time, Steve.
Thank you.
All right.
Eric Witt is the Deputy Command Historian for Headquarters Air Force Special Operations Command at Hurlbut Field in Florida. What a way to end the show there with the sound of freedom. Tomorrow morning, we will be talking with Young Eagles Chair Sean Tucker. Also welcome Lisa Taylor from the Wasp Museum in Sweetwater, Texas. And Ron Kaplan talks about the National Aviation Heritage Invitational. That's all coming up tomorrow on From the Stand. I'm Steve Buss, and you're listening to EAA Radio.
From the EAA Radio archives, here's an interview from 2010.
We are joined by Mr. Larry Clark on the phone.
Yeah, good morning, Dave and Eddie.
Good morning, Larry.
Great to have you. It's a shame we weren't having you live here in the studio, but I understand you had some adventure.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm back in Lakeside, Arizona, where the Seawolf will probably return tomorrow on a trailer from New Mexico. We had a mechanical problem around Angel Fire, New Mexico, on our way to Oshkosh.
Yeah, we heard something, a technical difficulty with an engine. You guys seem to be having a lot of problems with engines lately.
Yes, we'd previously had an engine problem, but got that solved, and things were going pretty good until we had a transmission problem. So that's why it's coming back on a trailer. But we're really looking forward to Oshkosh. This is a Vietnam veteran Navy gunship, and it was complete with all fake guns and rockets and everything.
Oh, man, what fun is that if they're fake?
Well, unfortunately, most police departments would like to get their hands on a real one, but they don't let us have the real ones.
You know, some police departments just don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's a shame. So you guys got to go and throw another transmission in this thing, and then you're going to get her back in the air again.
Yeah, we'll still be flying it. It served with the Navy Seawolves in Vietnam, and the Seawolves are anxious to see it at some of the local air shows out here on the West Coast. And they have a convention in Charleston, South Carolina in November, so it may even make the trip out to the East Coast.
Well, this helicopter's had a pretty interesting career. What I downloaded off of your website, it said it was shot down once after serving with the 1st Cav. But if I'm not mistaken, it was shot down several times.
That's right, yeah. And when we say shot down, I would say it was damaged by ground fire. It wasn't always an incident where it crash-landed. The one with the 1st Cav was such an event, and it had to be rebuilt. And after it was rebuilt, the Army loaned it to the Navy. And in fact, the Army loaned about a total of about 116 over a 5-year period B-model helicopters to the Navy for use as the Seawolves. And the Seawolves it was damaged several times, but repaired locally. It didn't have to go in for a major rebuild.
Now, what was the mission of the helicopter with the Seawolves? It looks like it was river patrol support. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. The Seawolves were a unit that was based down in the southern part of Vietnam along the river, and they operated off of various small boats, LSTs and so forth, patrolling the river. Lots of night flying, lots of bad weather flying. It was a very difficult mission.
And how many actual machines did they have? How many helicopters?
Well, and over a 5-year period, they went through about 116 B models and then about 20 other aircraft of different Huey types, mostly for support-type helicopters. But the gunships were the bread and butter of their unit. For example, the first year that they were in operation, they had fired 155,000 rockets and 13 million rounds of 7.62 ammo through those machine guns, and about 800,000 rounds of 50 cal through the 50 cal. About half of the aircraft had 50 cals in the door, and about half had miniguns in the door.
Wow, it sounds like they were kind of busy.
Yeah, they sure were, and they are still the most highly decorated squadron in the U.S. Navy history. They lost 44 men during that 5 years, but they had over like 16,000 air medals and 219 distinguished flying crosses and 101 bronze stars, just 156 Purple Hearts, just a few of the medals that they earned, and were given 6 presidential unit citations during that 5-year period.
Gutsy bunch of guys, no doubt about that. So how did you guys wind up with this helicopter?
Well, I work with a company here in Arizona, Overseas Aircraft Support, and we rebuild Huey helicopters for commercial use and foreign military use, and we have customers all over the world. And several years ago, they bought a block of 13 B models from the surplus yard in Tucson. And interestingly enough, they paid $611.57 for each one of those helicopters.
Well, they must have been hulks. I mean, they probably were no complete machines at all.
No, you're right. And it was parts and pieces. There was no engines and no rotor blades and lots of the parts missing. But it was a basic helicopter. And
so basically you bought a helicopter kit.
That's true.
Yeah,
and the aircraft sat outside here until about 2007 when we went through those, and I was going through the records, and I noticed that we had 3 Seawolf helicopters that had served in the Seawolves. So one of those was brought over to the sheet metal shop, and we started work on it, and almost every employee here has a hand in that aircraft at some point in time, and rebuilding it and getting it up to where we could fly it just about a month ago. We made the first flight since 1972. We hovered it and got it in the air and get it operating again.
So this one, I mean, you're rebuilding these to sell to other customers, but this one turned into the labor of love in the back of the hangar kind of deal.
That's true, and we did that with one about 4 or 5 years ago, another B model that was a dust-off or a medevac helicopter, and we flew that one across the country to Washington, D.C. for Memorial Day and back, stopping at veterans' memorials and hospitals and things, and giving lots of Vietnam veterans a ride in a Huey. And as anybody knows, the Huey has a very distinctive sound to the rotor blades, and many of the veterans, when we'd land in a memorial park in Nashville or in Knoxville, they'd hear that sound and it would bring tears to their eyes.
Yeah, or bad memories, unfortunately. As kids, where we were obviously a little too young to be in the war, but we remember seeing those things fly over. And you see Hueys all the time, but they're not that single engine. They're not that B model.
That's right, and there was about 15,000 Hueys that served in Vietnam. There was about 2,500 were lost. There was a total of about 17,000 helicopters over there, but 15,000 were Hueys. So
what sounds like the Seawolves ran through more than their fair share.
Yes, they did, and when they gave this aircraft back to the Army in 1972, February 72, toward the end of the conflict. And the Army considered them pretty well worn out and not very well maintained by the Navy, so they immediately went to the boneyards.
Well, now, the other interesting incident in this particular helicopter's history, it was damaged while aboard ship?
Yes, there was a recoilless rifle attack one night aboard a ship, and 2 helicopters were damaged very badly, and there was some people wounded. And this helicopter, 324, its Modex number was Seawolf 324, it was not as severely damaged as the other ones, so they put the wounded people, the members that they had, in this helicopter and flew them to a hospital.
Now, let's change gears just a little bit. I understand that the record number of passengers aboard or people aboard one of those Huey B models was 22 people, and it actually flew?
That's what I've heard, and I've heard that story, and I've also heard that in an H model, which is a little bit bigger cabin and a bigger engine, there was as many as 40 in one of those at one time.
Wow. That's incredible. Heck, I didn't want to be the pilot on that one.
They may have exceeded the red lines a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little.
Just a little. Okay, if we only got a minute, but if you wanted to find out more about the Seawolf 324, where do we go?
Well, there's a blog that's seawolf324.blogspot.com, and of course there is a Seawolf organization that has a website, and you can go there, and that is, if I find it here, just www.seawolf.us.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Larry Clark of the Seawolf 324 Project, thank you for joining us. Hope you get that transmission fixed because I want to ride.
And we hope to be there next year in person.
Well, you better be because I want to ride.
Okay. Thank you, Dave and Eddie.
Thanks,
All right.
Larry.
This is Digital Dave.
And I'm Fast Eddie, and you're listening to EAA Radio.
Here's one from AirVenture Oshkosh 2024.
$11:30 at Course Correction. I'm Fareed Guillot. Imagine it's an early morning at your cabin on the lake. You look outside as your coffee is steaming and the aroma of those grounds waft into your nose, awaking your passion for flying. You gaze downhill at your J3 on floats and become excited at the day of flying ahead on and off the water. Okay, that was a recurring dream I've had, but it can be a reality, and to tell us how to keep that dream alive is Steve McCaughey. Welcome.
Yeah, Fareed, thank you very much. It's always great to come here to EA Radio, and it's amazing to be here at AirVenture every year. Great group of people.
So I want you to tell me how to make my dream come true, because I really, this is an active thing for me.
Well, you know people.
Yeah.
You know people that know people.
Yeah.
So, number one, get involved in the Seaplane Pilots Association, seaplanes.org. We are a OPA for the seaplane community, so we're the ones out there advocating, working with the flight schools, the insurance companies, the manufacturers. But throw yourself in. If you're here at the show, come see us in Hangar C or down at the seaplane base. We have a big tent. There's nothing we love more than sharing our experiences and helping people get involved in seaplane flying.
It is. It seems wonderful, but also it's kind of niche, and so sometimes that acts as an unnatural barrier that people don't necessarily.
It can
consider
be intimidating.
Yeah.
Don't. I mean, so one of the things I like to tell people is, in today's world, too many people have learned on glass cockpits. The younger pilots are flying Cirruses and Diamonds and other things like that, and we're losing some of the emphasis on basic airmanship skills. And one of the things that you can do through a seaplane rating, which is very easy to get, there is no written test. There's only a flight test and an oral, and it generally can be done in 3 or 4 days, 5 or 6 hours of flying, and it's going to, number one, be the most enjoyable rating you've ever done, but also you're going to develop and see a whole new set of airmanship skills that you might not have had otherwise.
And that is an interesting point. So you highlighted something here. It is a rating that is added on to a certificate
It's
that
an
you
actual
already have.
rating.
And so it's not, you talk about there's no written test because you're not getting a certificate necessarily. So you're just...
You are getting
yeah,
actual,
that's true. Yeah. But you're getting something added on. You're getting a rating added on. And so, but it's like a checkout, but it's a really...
It's enjoyable.
It's a really important checkout. So it's not just like, okay, I'm checked out in this airplane. You're being taught the basics of on and off the water. It's a little bit of boating and flying at the same time. So there's some really interesting things to consider, like there's no brakes.
Who has the right of way?
Yeah, who has the right of way?
There are no brakes.
Yeah, those things that you think you have if you have to stop really fast. No, you have to plan ahead and things like that.
You're not landing on a prepared runway. The runway may be in any direction on a body of water.
I think about like the braking action reports on a runway and how they're changing all the times. A water runway is like this braking action report that you could never. It never is static.
People have to get used to the fact that as soon as you start the engine, the airplane's in motion. There are no brakes, so you need to get very mindful and aware of what is happening and be prepared for it in advance. And again, for me, I love the cerebral part of flying seaplanes. Not only is it a very visceral experience, you smell when you land in the water, especially in a Cub. I have a Super Cub.
Right.
If you learn in a J3 or a Super Cub, you can actually smell the water, when you land. And it's such a visceral experience. And it's also mentally very engaging from the standpoint that you're looking for boating activity. You're looking for stumps, pilings, buoys, the wave runners that love to chase us down on the water. You want to avoid those. So it's it's a very engaged experience.
You mentioned earlier about people are learning on these advanced instrument panels. The children of the magenta line.
Yeah.
One of the other things that hopefully you can correct me on this, but some of these airplanes that are on floats are actually tail draggers, so there's a lot more of that basic flying where you're involving the rudder more. So that's some of the things, depending on the airplane you choose, there may be some more of those flying basics you're going to have to wake up.
Yeah, and some of them, if they're on wheels or a tail dragger, like the Super Cub is a tail dragger as a land airplane, but we call it a shopping cart because it's 4 wheels, and you have to get used to landing a float plane on a regular runway because you're really high and you have to have better energy management. But if you get into a Sea Ray or the Gooey Duck or Grumman Goose, things like that, it's actually a tail wheel and a seaplane as well. So.
Well, this is going to happen for me, and I'm going to set a goal for like the next couple of years. But eventually, I want to try to get a hold of an amphibian because that will fit in with some of the lake cabin that I have and things like that I
Best
would really
of
like
both worlds.
to. Yeah,
it's easy to get maintenance.
Yeah.
It's easy to get fuel, and it opens up your options. It takes away a little bit of the romance because you can go to a known airport in a weather event or to get fuel. And it's easier than straight floats. But, you know, personally, I have amphibs. I've had both.
Yes,
but, the amphibs are...
But the Seaplanes Association has the resources for whatever way that you want to get into this type of flying.
Absolutely. Number one, we're there to help you with your journey. Number two, we have information like we have field directors in every state that will tell you the local regulations, which waterways you want to go to that can help you. We have an app, the Water Landing Directory, that will help you determine if a lake is open or not open, or if it has restrictions. It'll tell you all the information you need as a pilot. It also has a seaplane listing for seaplane schools. So there's about 80 schools across the country. We have both a printed and a digital form that lists what kind of aircraft these fly, what their program look, what's the cost of their program, things like that.
You're listening to EAA Radio. I'm speaking with Steve McCaughey with the Seaplane Pilots Association. I fly for a U.S. cargo carrier, and we get into Anchorage a lot, and that is probably the ultimate synthesis of the two of both land and water flying, because you've got these heavies. The biggest airplanes in the world are landing, and then just maybe a quarter to an eighth of a mile away is an active runway. That the
Lake
tower
Hood.
controlled. Is it called Lake Hood?
Lake Hood,
I should know this, right?
So you have 747s mixing with Super Cubs, and people don't realize it's actually controlled by the same cab in the same control tower.
And that's pretty amazing. I had a smaller version of that. I lived in Washington State, and I used to do a lot of instruction out of Feltz Field in Spokane. Yeah. And they used the river as their runway. And actually, the AirVenture Cup race in Wausau, the Wausau Downtown Airport, their runway 31 is paved, but their runway 30 is the paved runway is like about 5,000, maybe 6,000 feet, but the water runway and the river next to it, on the Wisconsin River, is 8,000 feet.
Yeah,
they listed it on the airport information as like, okay, I get that.
and that goes to show you. I mean, so one of the most active aircraft restoration facilities in the world is at Feltz Field. We were just there a couple weeks ago, flying Addison Pemberton's Goose, and he has the N3N, the only flying N3N on a float. It's a monofloat biplane. And we were out there getting to fly his airplanes. It's great.
Aside from like residential air parks and some of those other kind of really cool spots, what are some of the other kind of active commercial private communities that, people know about Lake Union, but what are some other ones around the country?
Maybe they don't know. So Lake Union, you have Kenmore Air Harbor, the largest seaplane airline in the United States. Great. If you've ever been to downtown Seattle, you'll see their aircraft flying in and out, servicing the San Juan Islands, and they're great people. They also have a flight school. They help sponsor our scholarship program. But you have Tropic Ocean Airways down in Florida, and there are communities all over the country, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maine, New York, all have very active seaplane communities.
One of the fly-ins that notable, it's just so beautiful. There's one up in Maine.
Yeah, Greenville. That's our next event.
Yeah.
That's our next event. The second weekend in September. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you need to come.
I do, don't I? I definitely need to come because then
it's the 50th
anniversary
this year.
Okay.
And it's a small town, 3.5 hours from anything. The only week that they ever have a traffic light in the town is the weekend of the seaplane event.
Okay.
And it is probably the largest gathering of seaplanes anywhere in the world just coming in for a weekend event.
You have an event here at EAA every year, and that's coming up. I believe that's tomorrow,
it was yesterday,
right?
last night.
Dang. Okay. The Watermelon Social, right?
Oh, the Watermelon Social is tonight. We have our corn roast, which is like 800 of your closest seaplane friends.
Okay. So, but the seaplane base is having the Watermelon Social.
The Watermelon Social is
but
tonight.
But obviously you're probably pretty closely aligned with that.
Oh, both. Yeah. We're at all the events. So the Watermelon Social is tonight. Starts at 4:30. Great way, again, if you have any interest, if you've ever dreamed of flying seaplanes, come out and join us at the seaplane base tonight at 4:30, and you'll get to talk to EAA's group. Most of all the EAA volunteers are our volunteers as well. There is a shuttle bus. You can take the shuttle bus from the main field here to get over to the seaplane base, so you don't have to drive. You don't have to figure out. It's a completely, as you know, completely different environment than here at the main field.
Wow. Well, what else would you like to tell me that I may have not have touched on? Because I could sit, unfortunately, I have a guest next. Otherwise, I would buttonhole you for another hour. But what else would I said? You're in Hangar C, you said.
Yep. Our main booth is here in Hangar C on the field, and then again we have a presence over at the seaplane base. But number one, thanks to all the EA volunteers for making this event possible for all of us to come attend. You guys are the heroes. Number two, if you have any interest in seaplanes, whatever, seaplanes.org, very easy. Come and visit us here. Please chase your dreams and make it happen. You won't regret it.
Steve, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Steve McCaughey is with the Seaplane Pilots Association. This is EAA Radio.
Here's a classic out of the EAA Radio archives from 2017. So we're talking to your average pilot who's flown into AirVenture, Dave Coulier, who's an actor and comic. There's this little TV show called Full House that's kind of made you a household name.
It's a full household name, and now it's Fuller House on Netflix. We're the number one show on Netflix right now, worldwide. It's it's been the Energizer Bunny of TV sitcoms, and to be back now, we're at Warner Brothers, back on stage 24 where we shot the original show. Friends took our stage after us, and then it was a show called Mike and Molly with Melissa McCarthy, and now we're back at Warner Brothers shooting the same show on the same stage where we shot the original Full House. And I have to tell you, it's sometimes I just have to pinch myself and say, people always say, once you move out of your childhood home, you can never go back home again. We all got to go back home, which is pretty remarkable.
Are you feeling that in the way the cast is sort of interacting and kind of reconnecting?
We never were apart from each other. We're kind of a dysfunctional, real family off camera as well. We have never been apart. We have barbecues. And, the other really nice thing is that they truly are my family members. We've been through marriages, divorces, births, deaths, becoming a hit show to being a canceled show on ABC to this rebirth. It's like the Phoenix, we suddenly just rose from the ashes and we're back on TV.
Now, our crack research team are all college interns. The research that they did suggested that you might have started flying before you started acting. Is that true?
Yes. My dad had a buddy. My dad worked at Chrysler, and his buddy had a Cessna 170. And every Sunday morning, if I wasn't playing ice hockey, my dad was sneaking out of the house. And I was like, where's my dad going every Sunday? So I got up one Sunday at like 5 a.m. and I said, Dad, where are you going? He goes, why don't you come with me? And we went, and when those hangar doors opened and I saw Mr. Pencil, his last name was Pencil, Pensyl. And so I went up, and when I saw those hangars open and I saw that aqua painted 170 sitting there, my jaw dropped. And I remember sitting in the back seat, and when we lifted off, it was the most amazing feeling in the world, and I never forgot that feeling. Then I got my license when I was 18 years old, just outside of Detroit, at a place. The airport's closed now. Got developed into a subdivision, Fraser Airport, or McKinley Airport in Fraser, Michigan, and it was started by a guy named Doc McKinley, who was a doctor, and he lived on the field, and that's where I got my certificate.
Wow. And then the acting came later.
Acting came much later. I had a partner in crime. I still have a partner in crime. We've been best friends. Mark Sandrowski and I have been best friends since third grade. And Mark and I, we used to write sketches and do Monty Python humor and listen to comedy records, George Carlin and Richard Pryor. And we were always doing comedy. We went to the same Catholic school together, same all-boys Catholic high school together. And so we were the two clowns. We were always clowning around. And now Mark has directed every episode of The Big Bang Theory television series. And so it's really funny to know someone from third grade, and now he was directing a show called According to Jim, and I was guest starring. And we're sitting in two director's chairs, and we're taking a little 5-minute break. And a PA came up to us, very attractive young lady, and she said, "Mr. Sandrowski, Mr. Coulier, can I get you gentlemen anything?" And I just looked at Marco. We both had the same thought at the same time, which was, hey, you two idiots from St. Clair Shores, Michigan, what are you doing in the director's chairs? Get out of here. So I started acting much later. I was a stand-up comic and did The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson when I was 24. And then Full House came. I was 27 years old, and I was supposed to go to New York and be on Saturday Night Live, but even before I got hired and fired in the same week, and I never made it to New York.
Wow! But
had I gone to New York and done Saturday Night Live, I would have never received the pilot script for Full House.
Yeah.
So.
Now, you talked about a friend that you've had for a long time. How about acting friends who are pilots? Is there a sort of a fraternity there?
Yeah, a fellow comedian, Will Schreiner, who lives in Florida. Will's dad was Herb Schreiner, who is a very big Catskills comedian. Will flies. Frank Welker is... I'm based in Whiteman Airport in Los Angeles, and Frank Welker is the voice of Scooby-Doo. He's across from me. I've known Frank forever. We worked on the Muppet Babies cartoon with Jim Henson, and he flies. Kurt Russell, I saw here the first time that I was here. I bump into him once in a while. We actually took a ride with my son on the blimp that year. And being part of this, the Hat in the Ring Society for AOPA has been really, I'm honored, first of all, that they, chose me to be one of the Hat in the Ring members, and it's really nice to be able to just go around and extol the virtues and the positives about general aviation. It's kind of a really cool thing that I get to do.
Now, our research also picked up something about one way that you might have used general aviation in an unconventional way, and that is flying to work where you live and work in the same, more or less, city?
That story's out there? I can't believe that story's out there. Yes.
I told you they were good.
Wow, they are really a crack team. When I was living in Santa Monica, I had to drive to Burbank on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. And if any of your listeners have ever been on the 405 during rush hour, it is really an hour to go about 15 miles. And so I got tired of it. So I thought, well, why don't I just fly from Santa Monica to Burbank? And it was 9 minutes from wheels up to wheels down. And I thought, this sure beats the hour-long drive sitting in traffic. So I got to our Full House stage, and our stage manager says, "Hey, I walked by your parking spot. Where's your car?" And I said, "Oh, I flew." He goes, "You what?" And I said, "I flew here. It only took me 9 minutes, wheels up to wheels down." He goes, "You're kidding me." And I said, "No, isn't that great?" He goes, "No, it's not great." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because Warner Brothers has a Lloyd's of London life insurance policy on you, and I don't think flying yourself to work is in that, is covered by that." So then the producers, our executive producers, Tom Miller, Bob Boyett, and Jeff Franklin, walked onto the stage about a half hour later, and they said, "Can we talk to you for a second?" I thought it was the greatest idea in the world. I'm like, man, this is a really cool thing. I got to fly to work, but I didn't get to fly to work ever again.
So there are lots of names you could have quoted, right, of celebrities who have flown as a part of work?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Johnny Carson used to fly in a helicopter from his house in Malibu to NBC. And I thought, wait, if Johnny Carson can do it, what the heck?
Yeah, because it wasn't a single-pilot helicopter. Because I don't see Johnny Carson having built a Robinson. But
no, they didn't. Robinson didn't exist back then.
Yeah, there you go. We've been talking with Dave Coulier, who is a comedian and actor, probably best known for his role as Uncle Joey on Full House. And a member of that crack research team is Katie Halter, who's an alumni volunteer with EAA Radio. We established earlier today that Katie was not living when the first season was on the air.
My goodness. You know, if you realize if you married someone with the last name of Top, you'd be Katie Halter Top.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, you know, one of those hyphenated, married names.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. What was your question again? Because I was thinking of that joke the entire time, and it went over like a Led Zeppelin.
Well, I was just curious how many times you've been here and how many times you've camped out underneath your plane.
This is my third time being here. I've been here each time with my son. I meet my son here. It's the first time I've flown here myself, and it's the first time that I've camped here. And it was raining pretty hard just a few moments ago, so I might have worn the wrong shoes to go back to the camping area and slosh through the mud.
You'll be in great company, though, you know?
I will.
You're not alone, that's for sure.
Speaking of that company, if this is your first time camping in Oshkosh, then I got to ask you, how anonymous have you been able to stay?
I've been tweeting and Instagramming, and now some people are starting to catch on. And
so you weren't really going for the covert presence then?
Well, I was wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses just because it was hot and sunny.
Yeah,
so
that helps.
When I do that, people just walk right by me, which is great. I love being anonymous. But I'll tell you a funny story. The guys who were camping next to me get on the bus, and I'm with my son. And the one guy says, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm such a huge Full House fan, and I heard Dave Coulier's here." And I'm wearing my glasses and my baseball cap, and my son just bursts out laughing. And so I thought, wait, is this guy putting me on? He's putting me on right now. And the other guy goes, "Yeah, I know. And man, your daughter's going to flip." He's like, "I have to get a selfie with him. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and man, it would like totally. I'd be the best dad, the hero of the year if I did this." And I said, "Well, I'll take a selfie with you." And he goes, "What?" I go, "I'll take a selfie with you." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I go, "Well, I get recognized a lot too." And I go, and he goes, "Well, who are you?" And I go, "I'm Jeff Daniels."
There it is.
Jeff Daniels.
I see that
and
now.
the other guy goes, "You are Jeff Daniels." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." And I took my hat off of my glasses. I went and I said to the guy, I just looked at him, I go, "Don't worry, I'll give her an autograph." And he goes, "Oh, man." And the other guy goes, "Uh-oh." And he goes, "Yeah, I got to take my foot out of my mouth right now." So that was pretty funny. And then we befriended and sat around joking, and they were just two great guys from New York. Flew a Cirrus here, and same thing with the guys flying a 170 next to me on the other side. The one guy says, "Who are all these people coming up to you all the time?" And I said, "Oh, I'm Jeff Daniels. They've seen Dumb and Dumber." And the guy goes, "Yeah, you." Are you dumb or dumber? I can never figure it out. So yeah.
Okay, so the anonymity thing, it works differently than I expected, but it sounds like it's working for you.
I have fun with it, but it's not like, I just don't want to go up to people, "Hi, Dave Coulier, Full House, how are you?" It's like, "Hi, what'd you fly here?" It's but the people here have been just great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Dave Coulier, actor and comedian, well known for his role on Full House and now Fuller House on Netflix. Second season is in production or coming?
Third season is about to wrap up. I directed last week's show, actually, called Surrogate City. And I directed our Christmas episode, the first season, and I'll be directing some more and some other sitcoms. And it's nice to be on the other side of the camera. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your week at Oshkosh, and thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. You guys are a blast. And there you have it, Jeff Daniels.
For EAA Radio, I'm Stuck Mike.
Joining us now on From the Stand from the Ron Scott Communication Center is Paul Dye, who is the editor of Kit Planes magazine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. You got a nice view.
Yes. And not only editor of Kit Planes magazine, a former NASA flight director.
Yep.
So you've got the entire spectrum, home builds to rockets.
We did everything from J3 Cubs up to the space shuttle. Yeah, we got 25 miles an hour to Mach 25 covered.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about how you first of all made it to NASA and then on to Kit Planes?
Well, I grew up in the Twin Cities and got an opportunity to start working on airplanes when I was about 13, and that led to pilot's license when I was in high school, and then aeronautical engineering school at the University of Minnesota, and I got this opportunity to intern down at NASA, or actually a co-op program, so I spent 2 years going back and forth between school and that was right at the start of the shuttle program, and when they offered me a permanent job, I said, this is cool, I got to do this. So we ended up flying space shuttle for 34 years.
My goodness. Are there any moments that stand out, either trying moments or
good or bad?
Good or bad, yes.
You know, I get asked that question all the time, and I ended up being the longest-serving flight director in NASA history, and there were so many of them that any one particular thing is really hard to pick out. All the flights were amazing in their own way. I know that a lot of people thought, well, gee, it's just going up again and doing something in low Earth orbit, but, you know, every single one had its special mission and was very, very exciting.
And like all of aviation, they're even the people who are flying in here today. I mean, there's an inherent risk involved in flight. There's also a much bigger risk involved in space flight. And I think the public kind of took the shuttle for granted.
I think they
kind of
did, but anytime you're sitting on that much explosive and you're blasting somebody into space, you're going from 0 to Mach 25 in 8.5 minutes. That's a lot of energy to be released. And then coming back, you got to take that energy back out. So both ends were pretty exciting.
Yes. Yeah. I was fortunate enough to see two launches, and the last one was John Glenn's return to space.
Yes. I was flight director for that.
Oh, excellent!
Yeah.
And we were actually in the VIP section, and someone's car alarm went off with the rumble from the shuttle. And it was something. When people ask me about it, I say it's the only time I've ever seen sound.
Yes,
looking at it, you could just see this wave
coming across the swamp. Yes,
it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life.
It's very cool.
Can't imagine what it was like to be actually a full part of all of that.
Yeah, it was an exciting time.
So you said you started building airplanes at 13. What airplane?
I started rebuilding a couple of J3 Cubs. There was a local fixed base operator that had bought a couple of wrecked L4s. He wanted to restore his J3s, and he formed an explorer post.
Okay,
was what they were called back in scouting back then.
Still are.
And we were able to go out there 2 nights a week and work on the airplanes. And when they got done, we got flying one. We got an hour of flight time for every 2 hours we'd worked on it for gas and oil.
Excellent.
That was a pretty cheap way to get a license.
Did you solo the Cub?
No. That. Oh, yes. I soloed the Cub. Yes, that was my first airplane I soloed in, and I did have to fly a Cessna 150 for a few hours to get the instrument and night time before I got my private, but. It was a great time.
It sounds very familiar. I soloed a Cub as well, but then had to move to the Cessna to finish up the training.
That's right. Yep.
So how did you get to be at Kit Planes?
You know, I guess I grew up reading aviation magazines, and I always thought, boy, this writers, that must be a cool job, something like that. And later on in my career at NASA, the last few years, I was asked to start writing a column and doing some flight reviews for Kit Planes. And I was enjoying that and getting more understanding of the writing process. And then when I announced that I was leaving the agency, I got a call from the owners of the magazine saying, we'd really like you to be the editor-in-chief. And I said, well, that's wonderful, but, I know nothing about the magazine business whatsoever. And they said, that's okay. We respect your expertise in experimental aircraft in the home-built world. And I said, well, I'll give it a try, and I figured I'd have them, I could maybe keep them fooled for a couple of years, and I've been doing it 5.5 years now, and it's just great. The people I get to meet, the airplanes I get to enjoy, the writers that I get to bring in. We don't have any staff writers. Everybody's a contributor, and it's just fun to go out and find stories and find people.
How do you find the technology changing the magazine industry these days? Online content?
People want to know where the Kit Planes Tower is.
Okay.
I tell them, well, I'm the editor. The editorial office is my study at home out in the desert in Nevada. And then I have an executive editor who's down in Irvine, California, and I have a layout man who's elsewhere, and then I have a marketing director. And all we do is communicate by email, and that's it. And when it's all done, we push the button, and it goes to a printer, and the printer's master computer decides which print shop has 2 hours on the printing press at that time, and boom, it goes. We're all distributed.
Excellent. What are some of the more unusual airplanes that you've had an opportunity to fly and write about?
Oh, let's see. There was the 90% Spitfire with a Chevy V8 engine, about 450 horsepower. That was a wonderful machine to fly. What a nicely balanced airplane. The little Subsonics personal jet from Sonics Aircraft, I flew that about 3 years ago, and ever since I did, I got the authorization on my license to fly that, and ever since then I've been just kind of going, boy, I want to fly that again. I just want to fly that again, and I just put money down on a kit.
Oh, very
and
good.
then they're very light aircraft. I seem to attract the ability to test a lot of single seat airplanes, a lot of fun ones, and the bush planes that you can just drop in on a postage stamp and take out in the backcountry, and a lot of fun.
Good. Talking with Paul Dye, who's the editor of Kit Planes magazine. When you flew the Sonics jet, was Bob Carlton involved in that?
Oh yeah, Bob Carlton was the guy who was running the training program,
Okay.
and I guess I was their first student because I was the first guy other than a factory guy to fly the jet, and yeah, that's the airplane I flew, and every time I look at it, it was like, yep, flew that one. We'll build one.
And just to put a plug in for Bob, he's Barber Award winner.
Yep.
Bill Barber Award, and he's also going to be flying in the air show today.
He is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
What are some of the other airplanes that kind of stick out?
Oh, let's see. Last year I flew the Durand Mark V, which is parked out in front of the home build headquarters right now. It's a reverse stagger wing, stagger wing, two-place all metal home built airplane. Flew that. A variety of Carbon Cubs. Of course, I've got a couple of RVs. The RVs are everywhere,
Yes.
and they're great airplanes to fly. And so, you just keep collecting different airplanes on your license and or on your logbook, and after you pass 3 digits, you just kind of, some of them blur together. Of course, the Space Shuttle, I spent a lot of time flying the Space Shuttle simulator, doing development work in that, and that was a totally different kind of flying, and that was a whole lot of fun. We refer to it as the heavy glider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that something that all flight directors did, is flying the simulator? Or
Not all flight directors. In the flight director office, we had different people that had different skill sets. We were kind of the knights of the round table. We usually had about a dozen flight directors who then had thousands of flight controllers that worked for us. And some were specialists in some things and some specialists in the other. And since I was kind of one of the silk scarf and goggles guys, I kind of picked the jobs that were flying kind of things. So that was a lot of fun.
what? I've heard that it was very hard to fly. Was it really hard to fly? Or?
If you bring a pilot into the simulator and you tell him the basics and he gets in there and flies it, they usually have a problem on their first landing. Okay. You bring a 10-year-old kid in there who's been raised on video games, and they land it perfectly the first time. So, you can extrapolate from that. The thing is, you're crossing the threshold at about 265 knots or maybe 240, and you're touching down at 200 knots, and most people have never even flown that fast, much less landed at that speed.
Right.
But once you knew the basics, a lot of people could get a decent landing out of it.
Oh, good. Yeah. Have you had a chance to see the Bally Bomber?
I have. I have not had a chance to get up and talk to anybody about it. I got here on Thursday, and they had a tarp over it, but I was just sitting there and took some pictures from various angles, and it is just a cool airplane.
For those who don't know, explain exactly what
the Bally
that is.
Bomber is a single-seat scale B-17. It's just amazing. This guy, Bally, took 16 years building it, something like that, and I have not had a chance to meet him yet. I'm really looking forward to doing that. So it is a beautiful scale B-17.
All 4 engines work?
All 4 engines work.
Place.
It's a 4-engine, single-seat, And, I'd like to talk to the guy who's flying it. I'd love to know how it handles.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll see an article in Kit Planes in the future.
Probably will. We try and cover the technical details for our readers, right, and we'll give them the secrets.
Are there any other aircraft that are here that you've heard about that you have not seen yet, or looking forward
let's
to
see
seeing
that I have not seen. Oh wow! There are a couple of home builds that I want to spy in on, but I haven't really had a chance to talk to, and I got to kind of see them, and then that'll remind me what the name. A lot of times I grew up looking at airplanes and stuff, and people say, have you seen this airplane? Yeah, I have. Well, what's it called? I have no idea. Somebody sent me a picture the other day of an airplane that looked just like the double ender.
Okay.
That twin-engine bush plane that they're working on, it looked just like, but with a single engine. And I said, do you have the end number? Do you give me the end number? And it was called an Ascender. And it was licensed out of the same airport that the double ender is based at. So it's got to be a single engine version of
Sure.
that. And I'd love to see that.
Great. And the Honeywell 757 with the extra engine hanging on the
Well,
side?
yeah, but, that's experimental, but it's not amateur built, so
That's
it doesn't
true.
quite fall into my wheelhouse.
But interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. The other airplane that's down there are a couple of small personal jets down there by the home builders headquarters. There's a couple of BD-5Js. There's one that I got to look in on when they were working on it, and it's painted like a hops bud. You know, the guys.
Yes.
A few people in Wisconsin drink beer.
Several of us.
And the guy who owns it is one of the largest hops farmers in central Washington.
Okay.
And he built this thing, and they painted it like a hops bud. It's really neat. You should stop down and take a look at it.
That's down in Homebuilt?
Down in Homebuilt, yeah,
All
down
right.
near Homebuilt headquarters.
We'll have to take a look for it.
Yep.
Paul, thank you for spending some time with us this morning. I'll let you get back to wandering the field and
You
looking
bet.
for
There's
interesting
a
airplanes.
lot of stuff to see around here.
Paul Dye is the editor of Kit Planes Magazine. And again, thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Steve Bush. This is From the Stand on EAA Radio.
Here's one first broadcast at AirVenture Oshkosh 2024.
(11:47 a.m. on the Friday of AirVenture. This is Course Correction. I'm Fareed Guillot. In our final segment, we talk about empowering women to fly. Part of that empowering, though, requires funds. Joining me is Rochelle Spector with the I Heart Flying Foundation. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Glad you could join us. So this is a foundation that provides scholarships and other sort of support. Can you give us just kind of an overview of how it works?
Sure. So I Heart Flying Foundation has been around since 2017, and we offer flight scholarship opportunities to women of all ages. And we have an outreach and a campaign called the HAND campaign, Heart Aviation Nation Delivers, where we tie scholarship opportunities with youth outreach events, speaking engagements, and we do this for a more hands-on approach to encourage our youth to explore and experience STEM and all of the aviation careers that are available. And with that, this also gives our Heart Scholars unique opportunities to attend these outreach events, a lot of the professional and fun aviation shows throughout the year, and put our Heart Scholars in front of our very partners, sponsors, and donors. And that's a little bit about I Heart Flying. And since our inception, we have awarded almost $300,000 in flight training support, plus goodies from our partners. And so far, we have 39 Heart Scholars, and we are building our Heart Nation. And what's really exciting about this is, as I'm sure everybody knows, this is no solo act, and we have incredible partners, sponsors, and donors that have been with us even since the inception of I Heart Flying, and even new partners that come on, whether it's in a financial capacity or in-kind capacity. But this is what we're doing to increase diversity, decrease that gender gap, and get more women in the air.
Well, while you were talking, I help run a youth aviation organization in my hometown, and while you were talking, I messaged the board to say we need to look into I Heart Flying because this sounds really amazing. You said you've been around since 2017. It's about, obviously we recognize this for a long time, but I think that there was such momentum has been building up over the last, I would say, 10 years to really help women close that gap, and I think this is one of those efforts.
No, absolutely, and it's still staggering to see the low numbers. Like 6% of women still occupy the pilot population, and it's like, what can we do to come together, build one another up, and put these opportunities out there to let women of all ages, all diversities, to know that these opportunities exist, and if we can do this, you can do this too, and we're trying to do it together.
And this is a positive effort because it's not that women have shortcomings or anything like that, or it's this is not about an ability thing. This is about the history of access to this industry and how it needs to be pushed forward.
Sure. No, absolutely. It's about awareness and putting these opportunities out there to let everyone, not just women, but that's why we have these outreach events to get even our youth involved to let them know about all the career opportunities available in both civil and military aviation. And aviation is so exciting, and there's so many career opportunities. It's okay, make them aware that these opportunities do exist. And yes, as you know, I mean, flight training is not easy. It's no cakewalk, and it's also not cheap. So what can we do to make this accessible and affordable, and let everybody know, hey, you know what, we're here to help, whether it's motivate, inspire, encourage, and educate women of all ages and everybody of all ages, that these opportunities exist and they are available to them.
So you said of all ages. So what is kind of like the low end of the kind of the age range? Are we talking high schoolers? You encouraged to maybe apply for scholarships?
So, well, the STEM outreach, opportunities we go up to 18 years of age as far as, the kids that, come to these events. But insofar as the scholarship opportunities, we run our opportunities between 3 and 4 weeks. And I've seen 12-year-olds apply. I've seen 70-year-olds apply. So,
awesome.
It's really cool to see and obviously listen to people's stories, because everybody has their journey. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a background. And like, for instance, our most recent scholarship that just closed, it was called Spring into Action. And we offered almost $30,000 in flight training support plus goodies. We have 4 new Heart Scholars, several of which are at AirVenture, walking around, meeting people, meeting our partners. And some of our current partners from that are Immaculate Flight, Shelter Aviation, and we had some new partners jump on board for this opportunity, Gulfstream Aerospace and Gamma.
That's some really important buy-in from the industry there.
Yeah, so again, a lot of people see the need and demand for these opportunities and are in alignment with our missions and goals. And like Bose Aviation has been with us since the inception of iHeart Flying, and obviously they're there, huge support from them, and we love Bose. King's School, I just saw John and Martha actually in San Diego the day before they left for AirVenture. AOPA, of course, has been a big supporter of us, and then Aerox, Oxygens. I mean, I could, keep naming so many, but it's really, again, it's not just the iHeart Flying show or the Rochelle show or the Lindsay show. This is all of us coming together, to build one another up. And actually, we have a lot of men who have daughters that want to see them succeed in aviation and other male-dominated professions. So, again, this is no solo act, and we couldn't be more thankful for all of the help to, get more women in the air.
You make a really good point about a lot of the men pilots or men aviation professionals, that they have daughters, and they feel like, what, this is a great career for my daughter too, and we need to, so it's not gender specific in the sense of who's supporting this. It's like, it's brought home for everybody. I'm speaking with Rochelle Spector, who is with the iHeart Flying Foundation, that it does outreach through education and also scholarships to advance mostly women in aviation careers. One of the things I noticed is kind of put a harsh light onto a burgeoning shortage within the aviation industry. The pandemic did this. And you were talking about some of those larger partners that everybody recognizes, is that they see that they got to reach down very early to grab onto people to continue to supply labor for their industries.
Yeah, that, and what's really great are all of the pass-through programs that a lot of these airlines and companies offer now, and schools, which is really great, because you can have opportunities to be on board with these companies very early on and become an employee, and you're already guaranteed a position. And now, just like what you were saying with the pandemic, now you have more opportunities than ever to get involved in aviation. So those opportunities are there, but you have to be willing to follow through, do the work, and search for and be aware of these opportunities that can help you move forward and achieve your aviation dreams on your career path. And again, all of these exist, and now more than ever. So we encourage all women to get out there and pursue your career dreams in aviation.
Let's talk about how they start that, especially with finding information about the iHeart Foundation and getting involved.
Sure, we have a very big social media presence, so we always encourage everybody to give us a follow at iHeart Flying on Instagram and Facebook. That's IHART Flying. And also you can head over to our website to find out more information about iHeart Flying, and we always encourage everybody to sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss out on any of our opportunities during the year and events. We do offer multiple scholarship opportunities yearly, so that's iHeartFlying.org. That's IHARTFlying.org. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're always happy to help and mentor. And that's really what sets iHeart Flying apart from other organizations is we're not just, okay, here's your flight training support, have a nice day. We are still involved with even our Heart Scholars from 2017. Where can we help mentor, educate, and encourage and put, our Heart Scholars in front of aviation industry professionals to help guide them on their career path. So it's really just so wonderful to see things come full circle where we actually have Heart Scholars that attend our events, help with outreach, and also now donate to iHeart Flying.
Mm-hmm. So now
to help other women.
You're already having that cycle kind of come back around. That's really great to hear. So what are some of the next? Do you have regional events or national events? How does that work with the like it's coming up?
So right now we have an outreach event that is scheduled for September in Denver, Colorado, out of Broomfield Airport. Shelter Aviation and Avfuel are going to be hosting the event. It's an outreach event. This will be our second year for this specifically, and we will have various aircraft from DC-3s to technologically advanced aircraft. We have different stations set up. Boeing and Jeppesen came out, various flight schools to offer discovery flights for the kids to learn different aspects about aviation. This year we're planning to have at least 100 kids, which we're super excited about. So our date is to be decided. One of our main gals just gave birth, so we are scheduling around that right now.
Yeah. Rochelle, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Rochelle Spector with the iHeart Flying Foundation, advancing STEM education and flight scholarships to women and other youth to support our aviation industry. And I want to thank my producers, Ricky and Radio J, this hour. You're listening to EAA Radio.
Now here's another classic interview from the 2019 EAA Radio archives.
Fly in an amazing frontline spot right here on Whitman Road at the flight line, right in front of the Air Operations Center, between Vintage and the Papa 2 taxiway, where all the cool airplanes come strolling by into Boeing Plaza. And what a day it is today. Boy, we've had some activity out here today, and we will continue to have activity out here today as we get ready for the big air show that will be Tuesday. And the Adventures of Avior is performing today at, from I said, 4:50 or so. 4:50. And then what other days, Nate Hammond, are you guys performing?
So we're also flying on today, Tuesday, Thursday as well, and then Sunday to help close out the show. So we're going to be here all week long. 3 times you're going to see us flying.
Oh, that's awesome. So when we went to the break, we were talking about the Sevely Brothers. Now, Billy Worth is also part of the group as well. And Billy, tell us a little bit about yourself. What did you do before to get your start in air shows? First of all, where are you from?
I live in close to Kokomo, Indiana. My house-painted job is as a reservist out of Grissom Reserve Base.
Okay.
You guys remember the big tanker flybys we did last year?
Yeah.
So I was involved in that too. So I've been here on the civilian side and the military side, which is a lot of fun.
So. And you do your own air show stuff, and what kind of airplane?
I've got a Pitts S2C.
Oh, very cool. So you got into this boondoggle somehow, and I'm guessing it was Nate Hammond calling you on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. What's kind of cool about this community being like-minded, if any one of these guys called, and like Nate did, he goes, hey, there's something I want to run by you. I didn't know what it was. I texted yes. I didn't even ask him what it was. I was like, yeah, I'm on board.
That's
whatever
because
you
you
want
don't
to
have
do.
to wear the tight suit.
Well, I hadn't factored that in. I hadn't thought that far ahead, but I was, yeah, exactly.
So, so you jumped on board right away, not even before he asked. Where did he go from there?
Well, like Nate said, the big picture idea, the emails back and forth, the storyboards, which that part of the component of this is, I think, what makes it really interesting.
Let's talk about that. Talk us through the storyboard
Yeah.
ideas.
So most of the time, you're not going to have a storyboard for an act like this. You're going to have an arrestee diagram. It's on one piece of paper. But this took more creativity, and there was more of the theatrical component to it, which I think makes it really unique to a lot of the stuff that goes on here at Oshkosh. Well, it's nice to add to that. So, I mean, you're talking about like a cartoon storyboard. This is what's going to happen next, and this is after this. So I think that's what kind of piqued my interest about it.
So how does that work? Because you guys all live in different places. So
technology is wonderful.
So are you? What technology are you using to storyboard together in different places?
Well, we went really high tech, and we got some printer paper, and I got my crayons out, and we stick drew all the airplanes in different colors so that we would know who was who.
You're being serious?
I am absolutely serious. It started off with my kids' crayons, and we came up with 3 or 4 pages of storyboards and went from there. And we tweaked it constantly. You know, we started off with a general idea and started to tighten it up, and then when we went and had our training camp in Kansas City, we tightened it up even more, changed the storyboards a little bit. That way, we always had the storyboards that we could refer back to. That way, when we had to bring in somebody new, like when we brought in Gordon for the pyro side, and when we brought in Dion, Luke Carrico was able to just to forward those on to him, and they were able to read through the storyboards, listen to the production track. That we had a rough cut of the music and the narration, and they could immediately, within 6 minutes of listening to the track, know exactly what we were going for, that we were pushing EA, that we were pushing Avior, and that Gordon would know what to do and how to make it lively with what, 400 or 500 pounds of fun out there in the pyro field.
Yeah, and we are definitely going to talk to him in a minute about that. But Billy, we want to go back to Billy because I want to find out where you got your start in aviation, Billy, before we move on to pyro.
Oh, I actually started. I kind of grew up in an Air Force family. My dad retired as a colonel in the Air Force, so I was well behaved, as you can imagine. No.
You moved around a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh sure. Lots of moves. I think 19 moves total for the entire family.
Wow.
Then I went to Indiana State University, went through their flight program, and then instructed for a while, and then I joined the Grissom unit after my dad was there, actually. My dad flew A-10s there, and then the A-10s left. 2 years later, I rolled in as a tanker toad and kind of picked up where he left off. So.
Well, I'm excited, as a lot of people here. Is it when you stop flying in the military side? Well, you may still do. I don't know.
I'm actually still in.
But the fact that you're still involved in general aviation is fantastic. You know, a lot of airline pilots, they don't get near the GA side and the performing side, and there's a lot of fun to be had out here doing this kind of stuff that's different from what you would do in the military or what you would do in any other segment of life. So
I completely agree. It's nice, and we're all airline guys also, and it's really nice to sit in a cockpit with another airline guy and talk about general aviation stuff, because it's like, okay, this guy didn't forget why he got into this in the first place. We got into this because we love flying,
right?
Not necessarily because I love driving a big bus carrying people around, right? Which is a great way to do it and great way to earn a living. But just to be out enjoying the freedom of flying, by yourself, it's awesome.
Well, I guess if everybody who is in the cockpits of airliners loved general aviation, there would be no airliners flying this week. So
that's true. Everybody to call
everybody be on sick leave. Yeah, they all be here. Anyway, well, fantastic. That's just great, and congratulations on on putting all that together. And we really do want to talk about this pyro. And whose idea was it to bring pyro in, Nate?
We got to give that to Dennis Dunbar. When we pitched the act, we wanted just 4 minutes in the box so that we could show Avior, so that we could show EAA, and Dennis was like, what we really need are explosions. And we need a lot of explosions. And I said, okay, hey, I have no problem with that. And ran it past the rest of the crew, and they said, yeah, more's better. And so that's when we got the pyro involved.
Now, is there pyro in the storyboards at all? Or is this kind of just an adaptation?
It's a little bit of an adaptation. So when you read the latest edition, number 4, that just came out, it's available online. I think it's in the August edition of Sport Aviation as well, that you can pick up here on site. The bad guy, if you will, is Rainmaker. That has a weather manipulation device that is creating thunderstorms and damaging capital city. So we needed somehow to represent thunder. Now, how do you make thunder at an air show? You call the pyro guys and say, hey, can you make something that goes pop really loud for us? And Gordon was able to just pick that up and run with it and adapt and make the story just that much better.
So I don't even know where to start when it comes to pyro. Like, how does a guy even get interested in pyro? Is it a military job that you then carry into civilian life, or is it just a kid who loves firecrackers? Or, how do you evolve into doing pyro?
Well, it's kind of a long story.
We have 5 minutes.
Is
it longer than 5 minutes?
Longer than 5 minutes.
Okay.
But to really put it short, a former boss of mine called me up one day and asked me if I would be interested in doing an air show in Muskegon, Michigan back in 1988. And I went and played with dynamite and had the best seat at an air show that money really can't buy. And I've been doing it ever since. So I've got a lot of time out there in the pyro field getting the just fantastic views of air show activity.
So do you start out doing like commercial explosive work, like blowing up like mines, or where do you have to have a license to get dynamite, right?
Well, yes, I have several ETF licenses and all of those kind of credentials. But basically, because our work is so specialized, it's really a lot of tribal knowledge. We've developed some processes and have tested them, and then bring them to the pyro field and provide that safe excitement that augments these guys and the great job that they do in the air.
So the storyboard comes to you and you're like, easy, hard, middle of the road? Is this a big project, or is this something you were like, oh, we can this is right up our alley?
Well, it's right up our alley because, when you talk about big, I've done a 16,000-foot long wall of fire, and after that, it takes a lot to get big, okay? So with this, it was pretty easy. They're going, oh, you want thunder? I can make noise. Oh, you want fire? Yeah, we can do that. And so we're going to fit that into the performance and see if we can add that extra element of excitement to just put a punctuation to it all.
Now, I'm thinking like maybe our listeners are right now, and one of the things that I always wonder about, and everyone probably does, is what are your concerns with the smoke? Like, how do you handle, is that taken into account with you guys flying around the smoke? How do you organize between the two of you? Like, where you're going to put it, or how you're going to organize your show so that you're not IFR in smoke, that kind of thing.
Well, given that I'm on the ground, I can kind of say it's not my problem. But, I can turn a field IFR at any given time. And these guys are some of the best that you're going to find anywhere, and I know that they can handle it. So, it's never the same twice, even though we may repeat the performance, but the wind changes, the weather is going to change that. And I know that these guys are going to know I'm going to deliver a safe performance for them and not put them in jeopardy, and I know they're going to do a great job in the air.
So, guys, let's Nate, let you address that.
So from the flying standpoint, we set up very strong covenants, contracts amongst all the pilots that we know where each other will be at all time, and we make sure that we have visual confirmation. And if I don't see the other guy on the other side of the box, then we go to our designated safe areas. It's always built in that way so that there is never a chance that we'll have a conflict. And that starts off on the ground, where you'll see us out there on the ramp. We'll be hand flying. We'll be doing the dance where we all stand together with our hands out like an airplane, and we practice our maneuvers so that we we absolutely know what I'm going to do and what Billy's going to do and what the Shetterleys are going to do, so that everybody is in concert with each other, and it makes it safe. And secondly, it makes it safe, and thirdly, it makes it safe. That's the whole goal. There is safe.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us today. I know you're busy as heck this week. And Nate, the shows, real quick, recap when your shows are.
Once again, we're flying today 4:51 today on Tuesday. We're flying again Thursday, and we're flying again Sunday.
Perfect, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on EAA Radio today. We're going to take a break, and then DTG Pyro is here, and I know they're working heavily with you, and we're going to talk to them for a little while about their role out here during the show.
Oh, fantastic! They're a great partner to work with, and I look forward to working with them out in the field. They do a great job.
Fantastic. Jay Munchie, we're on the fly down here at the Air Operations Center, talking about the adventures of Avior and some other things, some surprises coming up before the end of this hour. So stick around. You're listening to EAA Radio.
Here's a classic interview from 2011 in the EAA Radio archives.
You're listening to the morning pre-flight. I am Code Talker. With me,
Stuck Mike also.
Mr. Stuck Mike, how are you?
Doing
Still
fine,
hanging
thanks.
in there? We have a guest in studio, much to our delight, but I wasn't quite prepared for this because someone didn't put it on the schedule.
Okay,
He knew about it, told me all about it, and then forgot
that.
to document it.
I'll take that.
Mr. Michael Combs from Flight for the Human Spirit. We had you in last year. It was great talking to you, and we just want to catch up with you, see how it's going this year.
I tell you, it's fantastic to be here. Fantastic. I look forward to coming up, not to see you guys, but I just like the view of the field from here.
It is a great view, isn't it?
That's right.
So, Michael, last year we talked about Flight for the Human Spirit. Give us 60 seconds of what that project is.
I had always wanted to fly. I put that dream off for too long. August of 2003, my heart stopped twice. Following December, I realized that I'm never going to fly, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I promised myself right then and there that I was going to live my life with no regrets. Sometime while I was recovering, I knew that I had to fly an airplane into all 50 states, which seemed like a pretty epic journey for me at the time, since it was difficult for me even to get out of bed at the moment. But we've done it. We've accomplished quite a bit. So my goal now is to reach... Last year at this time, I was trying to reach 20 million people with the message that it's never, ever too late to follow your dreams, no matter what they are. We're now over 25 million people that we've reached. Unbelievable. And our goal now is 50 million. And it's amazing, just the stories that are coming out of this incredible journey that I've been on.
So when did the flight start?
April 10th of 2010.
Right, and since then, you've been to 49 of 50 states.
Correct, in a light sport aircraft.
Wow. So how many miles, airports, takeoffs, landings? What are some of the metrics around that?
Well, it's interesting, Mike. When I was here last year, we were at 101 stops and 14,100 and some miles.
That was the plan, or that was what was completed?
Well, that was where we were at the moment.
Okay.
And now I'm at 28,349 miles and 173 stops. This has ballooned far greater than what I thought it would become. Originally, I thought we would be around 12,000 miles, and here we are heading towards 30 now.
So that helps explain how you've made an impact or contacted more people with your story than you had intended. But you've had some other real boosts along the way that have sort of helped get that story out, right? We
have. I mean, it's interesting. Our fans are amazing. I mean, they... when I was here last year, I had a call from AARP magazine who said, we want to do a feature story on you. And that was, 15, 20 million. I can't remember the exact number. I've got it written down as far as their subscribers that read about the story. And that was a year ago from an effort born by one of our fans. Since then, I was contacted by a magazine in China. So I'm writing 7 feature articles for a Chinese magazine. somebody said to me yesterday, he came up, he says, "Do you realize you're a big celebrity in China right now?" And I said, "No, I didn't realize that." So it's just fascinating. Loop Magazine out of the UK is doing an article on me. So it's becoming a global presence instead of a U.S. presence only.
That's just outstanding. Now, of the 49 states, of course, the one that is the most distant, that was kind of touchy there for a while, was Alaska.
Yes.
Because Canada doesn't recognize the sport pilot license. How did you get to fly in Alaska?
You know, last year at this time, I had no clue how we were going to do it. I just knew I needed to get to Alaska. Shortly after I was here talking with you, I was doing a presentation on Sunday morning, which is the worst time to do a presentation here at EAA. But Bob Warner, who was a retired executive VP for EAA, he and his lovely wife Noelle came in, were one of the 3 people to watch me speak that last time, and they were just grabbed by this project. Bob ended up using his private pilot's license, and he and I met up in Seattle and flew on up into Canada and made it to Alaska. So the whole project is deeply indebted to him.
Wow, that's great.
For his efforts.
So once you got to Alaska, you became PIC again, right?
Yes.
Okay. What was that like?
Oh, I just cannot describe how incredible it is to fly through the Canadian Rockies and on up into Alaska. I mean, it's just a very formidable country. I mean, you look down and you see glaciers and ice flows, and it looked like those Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny cartoons where you just look down into this dark abyss, you know, from outside the window. But unbelievably beautiful. Unbelievable.
Go ahead.
I can only imagine just how that was, but you bring up an interesting point. You've probably flown over more states than the vast majority of pilots out here or in general in the world, and certainly more hours, and certainly more landscapes and more of this country. So Alaska being a given, what were some of your favorite spots to fly over? What was the most interesting features? I mean, you've seen a topographical picture that few ever get to see.
Absolutely. You know, talk about a front row seat to this planet. It's been unbelievable. Key West, Niagara Falls, Grand Canyon. Boy, I could go on and on. The Pacific Ocean just always grabs me. The desert Southwest was incredibly beautiful, even though it was hot and windy out there. Boy, the Mississippi River, I never get tired of flying over that, no matter where we are in the flight. Boy, and Friday afternoon I'll be giving a speech on the 20 best places to fly.
Where's that going to be?
Forum 3.
Forum 3?
Mm-hmm.
So, evaluate your piloting skills, if you could. What are the things that you think you've become strongest through this experience? What are the things that you still want to get better at in particular?
That's a good question. No one has ever asked me that question, and I'm glad you did. When you and I first met, I was in Indiana, and it's still, whenever I thought of flying, my palms would sweat, even then. And now I'm very comfortable with it. I look forward to it. And I realized I'm giving a big speech in October in Colorado. And one thing I'm going to point out to them is to pose the question, when is it that I realize that I love flying the most? And most people would say it's when you're behind the stick or when you're up in the air, but it's when I'm not flying. Because I look up at an airplane and wish I was there.
Yeah.
And that's the transformation that's happened to me over the last year. Crosswind landings, things like that, are not something that I'm nervous about anymore. Of course, we're always cautious, but I look forward to it now.
Yeah.
It's not something that has a mystique to me. It's something that I can do.
How about working with controlled airports?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Boy.
I mean, you've done a bunch of them now.
I definitely have. I mean, I've that little Remos, I tell you, I've landed it in front of a 737, behind a 737, behind a B-52 bomber, in Bravo, Charlie, Delta airspace. I use flight following everywhere, so I'm very proficient at the radios. Not that I always get it right, but I'm not afraid to click on the mic and talk to the boys out there.
Yep.
I don't know. It's been a great learning experience for sure. Most pilots, from what I understand, don't stray away from their familiar airports. And boy, to fly into new airports every day and become so familiar with it that's routine is it's a real gift to me. Great experience.
So what's it look like getting you to the 50th state at this point?
FedEx has quoted me $23,000 one way.
Ooh.
One way. So we need $50,000 essentially to ship
fold
it
the
by
wings
air.
on the Remos GX.
Fold the wings, which I love about the Remos. You can fold the wings and ship it anywhere you want. We've had it in a mall and convention center and on and on. To ship it by sea is $11,000 to $14,000. So we're raising those funds or looking for a sponsor. I do have an 80% chance of a ride next year with extra aircraft on a C-5 for a combined military air show next year.
Interesting.
Do they even need to fold the wings?
No, I don't think we will. I think I can do a touch and go in the C-5.
I think so.
So anyway, we do have that opportunity, which if we need to pull that trigger, we will do that next year. I would just like to have the project finished at this point, just so we can move along. I have another big aviation thing that I'm planning already, and
we'll have to wait. Kind of be my next question. What's your next goal? If you're looking forward to finishing this, without giving too much away.
Sure. Well, immediate goals is I promised my fans I would set 6 new world records. So we've set 4 of them so far. So I've got 2 more world records coming up. One will be a cross-country world record, a sanctioned FAI world record with a sport pilot's certificate, which is a little more challenging because you can't fly at night. So we'll end up taking the seat out, the right seat, putting an extra fuel tank, which will give me about 7 hours of flight time. And then I put it out to my fans, where do you want me to set the next world record? And they've given me a list of their favorite airports. So we're going through that now. So those are the things coming up, is those 2 plus Hawaii.
So what are the records that you've set?
We have set the most distance flown in an unmodified light sport aircraft on a trip, most miles flown of any light sport aircraft on a trip, and the most stops on a trip of any historic aviation flight. We've flown more airports than any other flight in the history of man.
Wow. And then there was the Branson record, right?
Yes, we just set a sanctioned FAI world record on July 9th from Fort Worth to Branson, which I said in my speech yesterday that I'm the latest aviation world record holder in the history of the world right now.
Wow.
Here at
Congratulations. So glad you came to see us today.
I know, it's exciting.
We're running close on time, and I know that there's one thing you specifically wanted to say this morning.
I know they're listening out in Texas here, but I wanted to give a shout out to my local EAA chapter, the DFW Light Flyers. Hi, guys.
They've been a big part of what you've done.
They have. They have been strong. They provided more encouragement than anything, because when I first showed up there, I had no airplane, did not have my pilot's license, and had just the plan of flying into 50 states, but that was it. And they embraced us. And I encourage anyone listening who doesn't have your pilot certificate, join your local EAA chapter. They're a fantastic bunch of guys.
Great.
And gals.
Thanks so much for coming by today.
Thank you, guys.
Each time you come in, I really want to go back to flight school again, Mike.
You need to.
I really do.
Don't give up on that.
I don't think I will. Thanks so much, Michael.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Here's one from AirVenture Oshkosh 2022.
Live from the Ron Scott Communications Center, and we are joined right now by Jerry Yeagan, who is the founder of the Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach. Glad to have you here, sir.
Thank you. Enjoying myself. I've never seen so many airplanes in my entire life. Where'd they all come from?
All over. You should look at the ADSB readings of everybody coming in or leaving yesterday after the air show. It's absolutely amazing. Also joining is Keegan Chetwynd, who's the museum director. Good morning, Keegan.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be up here again at Oshkosh.
Good. And Mr. Yeagan, you've brought several of the aircraft from your collection here to Oshkosh, and we're featuring them in the Warbirds area. And they'll also be flying in the Warbird show, the P-40, yes, the Sky Raider, and the Corsair.
That's right. Yeah. And we have our fingers crossed, and we're still hoping one of the airplanes that's been en route for quite some time. We're still hoping that it's going to arrive tomorrow. And that is the airplane that's all built out of wood and has 2 engines, and it's called the Mosquito.
Yes, we were looking forward to seeing that. It was here a few years ago, right after it came out of restoration, and it was a big hit at the show. So, or fingers crossed that it'll be able to make a return.
We're looking for another big hit.
Good. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration, first to get into the warbird movement, and then eventually to create this incredible collection of a wide variety of aircraft that you have at the museum.
It started with one airplane, and a number of years ago, almost 20 years ago, I guess it was, and